fiery roar, he battled the darkness like never before. From the depths of the internet he emerged, with sponsors in hand, his mission surged, defending the realm from boring boss like champion of coffee tables, shining bright. Oh, Dave the Ghost, a hero so grand, with sponsors by his side, he took a stand against boring balls, boring ways. Gave fears with resolve would save the day.
Hello, friends from the East Coast to the West, from the North Pole to the South. It's your old pal Dave here, bringing you Toast to Toast once again. I'm so excited to be here. Unfortunately, Paul can't join us this week. So, guess what? Lucky you. That means twice as much Dave. We have a fantastic show tonight. I'm going to tell some jokes. I've got some great stories lined up you're going to love. I've got a list of my top 10 favorite movies, my top 10
Okay, I
favorite...
got my drink. I
Oh,
got
hey, Paul.
I got my drink. I got my tequila. Are you ready to go? Are you
Yeah, no,
everything set on
I'm
your
ready to
side?
go. I'm ready to go anytime you are. Everything tested good, tested the audio. I think we're fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'll
Yep.
put on the theme song and we'll be live in a minute. Hold
Perfect.
on.
Yeah, can't wait to go
Don't talk
live.
through the intro.
Sorry.
Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon from every time zone, from every nation where you can get the internet on this planet of ours. Welcome to Toast AM. Seeing a lot of Dave emojis in the chat, which is exciting. It's good for you guys to give Dave a little bit of support. Well, that's nice. Nice of you guys to do that. Speaking of which, I may as well bring him on. Welcome,
Hey,
Dave.
hi everybody. How
Thanks.
are we doing tonight? It's good to be here for the first time.
That's yeah. We're here for the first time tonight. That's
Of
right.
course we're here for the
And
first time. Why would you say it
and
like that? That's weird.
I know I often say weird things. So we're here to celebrate all kinds of things. We are
Yeah,
first and foremost, we are here to hang out with all of you, our friends in the
absolutely.
chat who join us whenever we happen to do the show. You guys faithfully show up. We appreciate you so much. We are here to read out super chats if people have super chats.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, we got a team coffee table. Thank you, Michael.
We got a couple super chats already. Yeah.
And a huge thank you to everyone who was with me earlier this week for our MS Walk charity stream.
I tried. I was only able to pop in for like 30 seconds because I had, oh well.
It's quite all right. But
Yeah.
that was for MS Walk. I'm on Team Shannon Q, and we're almost to our goal of $7,500. And thank you so much to all
Yes,
of you.
you
That was just amazing.
blew
We
past the
are
5,000.
we blew past the so Shannon decided, well, maybe I should update the goal, and the goal she updated to was almost also met just like as soon as the stream ended too.
Mhm.
So she underestimates how generous you guys are, and we
Yep.
appreciate all of you.
That's a very good cause and well deserved.
And on May 26th, I guess I will be literally. I've committed myself now to actually doing the walking. I'll be whatever it's a
There
five.
you
I don't know
go.
if it's a 5K. I don't know how many Ks of worth of walking it will be.
And I feel like you should get sponsored twice as much because you
Well,
just
right.
got those little legs.
It's true. It's true. I'll be scooting.
That's not a nice thing to say.
That's not really.
No. Oh,
That's probably the first non-nice thing you've said about me all day.
That's today. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we have Jacob Waters. I assume this means that you became a member. Welcome, new member. So now you're
Welcome.
part of the Black Box Club.
Absolutely.
People in the chat can help you figure out what that means. We had David K before the stream even began
Yeah.
with a $20 super chat. Thank you, David.
Thank
Hopefully
you as
that's
always,
not
David.
a ominous countdown to something.
All of a sudden 19 shows up and we don't
Yeah, exactly. Sean Bates with a $5 super chat. Lemon Demon. It's interesting that lemon and demon don't rhyme.
That's English.
Lemon Demon wrote a great song about AM conspiracy shows. You should check out Touch Tone Telephone. Should be stream safe. Yeah, no, I don't put music. Dave, if there's one thing I always say, we don't put strange music that I haven't seen on this show.
No, you go on about it. It's a big. That's how you get demonetized.
There's one rule on the show. Only music that I have pre-cleared can be on the stream.
Absolutely. And I mean, I stand behind you 100% in that. That's a good rule.
I know we don't have many rules around here, but that is one of them.
That's the one.
We have Mark Rothenbuehler for $10. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Team Coffee Table speaking here. Oh, Team Coffee Table.
Maybe I should read it if it's Team Coffee Table.
All right, go ahead.
Team Coffee Table speaking here. Paul, if your biggest fear is dust, it's not. Why not also buy a Swiffer duster too? It could not be easier. This cash is towards that. That would fix that problem. Paul.
So we do have a got a new fancy Roomba.
Ooh.
We got the one that it mops. And
I didn't know there was Roombas that mop.
It mops and it cleans its own dustbin. And it puts its own mopping fluid into it. So we've been suffering a couple of years with the base model Roomba.
Mm-hmm.
And between the human hair and our two pets, that was the end of the base model Roomba.
I have I have an original Roomba. The thing's like 15 years old now. It's like not even model. It's a Roomba because there's only just the Roomba. What are you talking about?
Anyway, Mark, I will put this $10 towards the new Roomba. Constantly needs stuff. It needs new moppy pads and fluid things, and it's a needy bitch.
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that in the marketing material?
That's what it says. It's
we'll keep your floors clean, but it's a needy bitch.
Yeah. So
and then the salesman just shrugs.
Yeah. Our previous one was named Sweepy.
Okay.
But I named this one Dr. Broom.
But
because the Fantastic Four had just come out, the announcement, and I was feeling very Fantastic Four-y, so I named it Dr. Broom.
That's a Hellboy reference.
No.
That's Professor Broom. That's the old guy that adopts him and goes.
Professor Broom. But Dr. Broom Doom is someone else.
Yeah.
All right. The Ronin, uh, $5. Love that new opening song. Or that's what I would say if I'd heard one, which I did not. Yeah, so that's weird. But
Yeah, it's the Chase by Marauder, which is the
yeah,
theme from Chase by Marauder. It's a
which
classic.
I got to tell you, I had to do a weird to get that cleared by YouTube
Yeah,
for our very first show, to get the exact cut down and the exact length that
the real
wouldn't
real talk
demonetize us.
time. We had a bitch of a time
We
getting
sure
that,
did.
figure out how to make that
So
work. I say
and I
we,
had
but
to,
it was all Paul. Yeah.
it's I had to find like weird covers of it. So it's not the original one because it's just very slightly enough off. Anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you, Ronan, for your weird message. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to say, Ronan, and probably you should keep
But
your mouth shut.
but as I was gonna weirdly segue, so our charity stream, you were all super generous, and already you guys are
Mhm.
being very generous to the show. But we cannot look. This
Mm.
show, this is a needlessly complicated show. I think everyone can
Sweepy McSweet
agree.
face, Paul.
What's that? Oh,
Sweepy
Sweepy
Mc
McSweepy. That's not bad. It's
It's
not
not
bad.
bad. Yeah, it's needlessly complicated. So many things.
Needlessly
We didn't know.
complicated. We have to cheers. Hey, we haven't even cheersed yet. Cheers
No.
to
Okay,
you
wait. I'm
and to
gonna
everybody.
pour. I got an actual horn cup with a wolf carved in it,
Woo!
and Odin Skull
Oh, you're Viking.
Nordic hunting wine, 19% alcohol. This is
Vikinging it
it.
up.
We're Vikinging it up. My cork broke. Well,
All right, well, we'll cheers
okay.
in a minute. We'll
I guess there's always rum.
well, you can start with rum and while we're doing
Yeah, I'll have to go get a
the start of the show it was very Dave heavy. It's a very Dave heavy thing because we require your sponsorship
yes.
enlightenment. And that was where I was trying to segue to
Trying
was
to
that
go and I'm trying to drink and this is all
we cannot fund this entire elaborate setup. We got a dog cam, we got a dog
Mhm.
here.
Yep. Hello, Bella.
We can't feed my dog just on the backs of you guys alone. We appreciate you, but we
Yep.
can't put the burden all on you.
Oh, you could.
Well, we don't want to. We want so Dave, he
Yes.
hustles. He hustles, and every couple weeks, or however often we do the show,
Mhm.
Dave's remarkably been able to find a sponsor for each and every show. Now, maybe we need a corkscrew or something to be a.
I need a corkscrew to yeah.
Or I thought
Yeah.
maybe as a sponsor we could get corkscrews.
Well, there you go. But you know what, Paul? We do have a sponsor.
Very good.
Okay. And I am Paul. I'm tremendously excited to talk about the sponsor of this week's show. This week is a little bit of a departure for us. Typically, our sponsors are clever and innovative companies that want to highlight some new product or service they've invented. Pants obviously comes to mind. Liquid ice was another one that was good. You know what? I could go on, but that would actually be a bit of a disservice to the sponsor this week, who is, I don't want to use their very expensive ad time to talk about sponsors of previous shows. So let's just get back to it. The thing, Paul, the point I'm trying to make is the sponsor this week is not something new or flashy. They've been around, Paul, for a long, long year. And with our help, they're here to stay. Let me take a moment, Paul, to reintroduce you to the original font of knowledge, the progenitor of the written word, often imitated, never truly replaced. Paul, today's show is sponsored by clay tablets. Now, Paul, I already know what you're thinking. Clay tablets? Haven't those been obsolete since the papyrus update 5,000 years ago? Paul, I appreciate your knowledge of the history of the written word, but you could not be more wrong. Yes, papyrus is flashy. Yes, you can roll it up for easy storage and transport. But let's face the facts, Paul. It's expensive. The inks you need to use are expensive. You need fancy brushes. And when it comes to longevity, you might as well be writing on a wax tablet. Vellum is fine, I suppose, if you don't mind murdering Bambi every time you need to make a shopping list or leave a post-it. And again, you keep the stuff in a humidity-controlled refrigerator, or it will barely last a few centuries. What's even the point? You might as well base your culture on a rich tradition of oral histories, if you're writing on vellum. At least then you get the fun of hearing the Epic of Gilgamesh told by a competent storyteller. And paper, Paul, don't even get me started on paper. I mean, paper has its place, right? If you need to clean up spilled tomato juice or blow your nose, paper can't be beat. And when it comes to something like a daily newspaper, you don't even see much anymore, or receipts, for the salad you got at lunch. Paper's fine. There's no better alternative. But you write something on paper, you're lucky if it outlasts you. Get it too dry, falls apart. Too wet, the ink runs, then it falls apart. Too hot, it burns up, then it falls apart. Too cold, you guessed it. Hope you enjoy your cold flakes of what used to be paper. And the worst part, any jackass with an eraser can just come along and change what you've written. Hardly seems worth writing anything on it at all, does it? In these modern times, Paul, when individuals and organizations are more concerned than ever with the reliability of long-term data storage, there is no medium that can even begin to compare to the proven track record of clay tablets. You would be a fool, Paul, to store your cuneiform records and Bronze Age poetry any other way. Not only is clay basically free, recording data onto clay requires nothing more expensive than a pointy stick or a shaped piece of straw, or in a pinch, you can use your own finger. You just dry it in the sun, or if you're in a real hurry, you can upgrade to a kiln at a slight extra charge. But it's very reasonable, Paul. Very, very reasonable. Before you know it, your thoughts and memories will be recorded in a form that can safely withstand being buried for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. And that's not everything, Paul. Viewers of this stream can use the promo code Toast to Toast, that's TOAST, the number 2, TOAST, when shaping clay into a roughly uniform rectangular shape to receive at absolutely no extra cost Hammurabi's Code. Wow, writing and laws at this price? You are getting the foundation of civilization itself, Paul, at a cost so low, Hammurabi is probably going to outlaw it whenever he gets around to doing volume 2. So don't walk like an Egyptian, Paul. Run like a Mesopotamian and get yourself a full set of clay tablets today. You and your ancestors for 100 generations will be glad that you did. Clay tablets.
Well, wow. Well, timely. That's wow. Clay tablets. Well, excellent.
Clay tablets right there.
Now, just to be clear, the copy, the copy of the digital, not the Hammurabi Code that would come in.
Yeah.
Is that in the original Sumerian, or is it a translation?
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
I honestly, it's fine either way. I assume most of the audience is very fluent in Sumerian, so I don't think it's going to much matter.
Now, this wouldn't be a case of someone taking something in the public domain and trying to make a cash grab from it, is it?
Paul, in addition to the free Hammurabi's Code, you can also receive, just drop my name when you order it, a free copy of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Right there for you.
Oh, well, my complaints are gone.
Absolutely.
My complaints are gone.
One of the foundational pieces of literature, right up there. It's you can't beat it. You can't beat it. I'm a little sad that Kip Davis isn't here to hear this.
He'll have to catch up later.
Yeah.
All right. Well, excellent. So thank you so much for clay tablets.
Yeah.
For their ideally they will be a long-term sponsor of the show since their product lasts so long.
So very, very long.
So very long.
Yes.
All right, Dave. So we will eventually get to our Art Bell episode, which is ostensibly the hub around which the show rotates.
Yeah.
Although the arguably the audience is the show around it, is the hub around which we rotate. But anyway,
the audience is the foundation the show is built upon.
Oh, I see.
But the Art Bell is the hub.
Actually, I do think we do need to say just one brief thing. So the show tonight will be the very first appearance of Richard. Is it Hoagland? Hoagland.
Yeah.
So Richard Hoagland will be on the show. We don't need to do an introduction because he will be introduced in the show. But suffice to say, he was on the show many times after.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Frequent guest.
And so tonight's trivia, there's a lot of fun things about tonight's trivia.
Yeah.
We have the normal fun thing, and that is that the winner tonight will receive a Toast to Toast tumbler. You can join the Tumbler Club. The topic of the trivia will be
The works of
an,
Richard Hoagland, right?
his name I blanked for a second. So it will be the works. The lifetime efforts and works and notions and ideas of Richard Hoagland.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you are not familiar with Richard Hoagland, it will be an exercise in guessing,
Yeah.
in educated guessing, I would say.
You still got a 20, at worst, you got a 25% chance
That's
of
right.
getting every question right.
But not as fast, because here's the thing. If you're
Mhm.
getting cocky in the chat, getting excited about this 25% chance you got,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Right.
Dave and I, we outsourced, and tonight's trivia was written by a third party,
Mm-hmm.
so that Dave and I, usually
direct-
Dave writes the trivia,
Usually I write
and
trivia.
and
for
so
better
I
or
can
worse.
kind of like participate in my own way. I try not to, competitively go after it. But tonight, Dave and I are going head to head with all of you, because we are not privy to what the questions are
Or the answers.
or the answers. So these will be new. Hopefully, the questions are appropriate.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the questions are correct.
Caveats. Yeah.
But we will be putting them up blind.
We couldn't check
So
the work because that would have been cheating.
that's right. So lest you get excited about this 25% odds, notice that Dave and I are also going to be in there
Mhm.
fighting it out against each
Yep.
other, per se, and
Fighting
you.
around the world.
So who's going to read the questions? Are we going to
Oh,
alternate then?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay, because you
yeah.
presumably the person who's not reading can skim ahead and. Oh, also, are we gonna? We're ahead of the rest of the people.
Yeah, it's not really fair to everybody else because they're on a delay.
Should we on our own honor system give it a 10-second count or something? Get like what? Well,
Let's see. I'll grab a piece of paper for me. I don't know if you got something I can.
no. I want to put it in the chat.
You want to put it in the chat? Okay.
But I'm just saying, maybe you and I should, just on our own honor system, we will wait. We'll give it at least
the very end of the.
Well, we'll do our own internal, like the person
Yeah.
who's not reading will, we can just do a little quiet count,
Right.
and put in the things, because yes, we're slightly
I mean,
ahead.
the timer is right on the screen. We can see it. The time.
Oh, true. Yeah, we can just give ourselves
We can wait till it's just like
a couple
29
seconds. Yeah.
in and
Yeah,
type, and type our answer. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so I propose, before we get to there's 8 questions.
I bought this beer because I liked the can. Beyond reason. Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Should we do a trivia question before or should we introduce the guest first? Because the guest is part of the trivia.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah, Mark, that's a good point. I'm grabbing paper. I don't have any clay tablets.
Hey, yeah, that's right.
Apologies. We'll edit that out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's okay. Their sponsors never actually watch the show. We'll be fine.
Well, we can edit it later. Yeah, they don't usually, sponsors don't stay up this late usually. J. Victor, disclaimer: without fire, clay tablet is useless.
You missed the Melody Kate super chat from before this one.
All right.
And the Melody Kate member message. No, I don't know what you got against Melody Kate, Paul.
Yep. Melody's got to wait. Best for last. Best for last is what it is, Dave. J. Victor first.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Disclaimer: without fire, clay tablet is useless. You might as well be writing in wet sand. Well, that's a callback to our previous sponsor.
Yeah.
Fire. Thank you,
Fire,
for
we
being
still appreciate
a loyal patron of all of our sponsors. Appreciate that. Yeah. Melody used her 12-month member chat to say, smash the like button before you're too smashed to find it.
Good advice.
Did you Are you working on getting your little cork
He had
open
a
yet?
super chat previous to that, prior to that.
Yeah, but
Oh.
we're one at a time.
Yeah.
Melody Kate for $20. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Honey mead for all. Greetings, toast to toasties.
No honey mead for me, unfortunately,
Mm.
currently.
Well, next time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for all the super chats. Okay, so how are we doing this?
So we just start the first question. Do you want to read the first question, or do you want me?
Well, no, question is, do we want to do the little bit of intro from Art of who the guest is before we do the first trivia question?
I guess people don't even know. Maybe there could be a lot of people here who don't even know who Richard.
Just to
Hoagland
get a
is.
taste of who he is.
Yeah. Let's do an intro, and then
So I'll put up. I'm going to put up the trivia timer.
Yeah, and
All
let's get a little.
So here we go. I believe this is from 1996. I believe June
believe that's correct,
1996. Yeah. All right.
All right, a lot of people don't know who Richard Hoagland is. We've got a lot of new affiliates, that sort of thing, Richard. So without my having the bio, tell us yourself. Who are you?
Oh, dear. Well, let's see. I'm currently leader of a research project called the Mars Mission, which involves a range of astronomers, scientists of persuasions ranging from geology to image processing to mathematicians, anthropologists, even some artists and psychologists. And what we're trying to do is to figure out a set of objects discovered on a set of NASA images about 20 years ago, taken of the planet Mars by the unmanned Viking mission. And it's kind of the first extraterrestrial archaeological research project in history, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Let us switch to the moon. You got a big. I know you were ballyhooing a big announcement about.
You think that's correct? The first space-based archaeological research. Okay, maybe, I guess.
I mean, I guess calling it okay, whatever. Yeah, it's a research project.
Oh, Caitlin Chloe's in the chat. Kate, she's worked for some secret government stuff before, so she can maybe tell us, if there's any other formal investigations of the Mars architecture.
You might not be at liberty to say.
If
she says there wasn't,
yep.
kind of thing.
That's right. That's what you expect her to say. Yeah.
All right. Several nights ago, Thursday of last week, I flew to Ohio State University, and to a literally packed auditorium, about 600 people in Independence Hall. We presented for 4 hours the results of the last year and a half of our Mars mission research. We're going to have to, by the way, change the name of our organization because Mars is too narrow a focus, and I'm in the process of kind of casting around for something that would be appropriate and would.
I feel like Mars isn't too narrow a focus. Maybe. Anyways, yeah.
Well, I guess what we can spoil so if you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. Yeah. Now, I have not listened to this whole episode again. I remember hearing it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But he came on, he was famous for Mars conspiracy.
Yes.
Not conspiracy is the wrong word. Mars research up to this point. But he was coming on to let Art know that there had been some disturbing moon discoveries as well.
Right. I mean, so his famous, everybody's familiar with the face on Mars, or I think a lot of people are probably right. Like, and there's the Cydonia region of Mars. That's where there's famously there's certain geological shapes and shadows where you look, and if you look at it the right way, it's well, this looks a lot like pyramids or things that are clearly made by, these aren't natural formations. These are made things, and they seem to be things that look like Earth. But a lot of it it's the old thing. It's well, you have to look at it a certain way, and you kind of have to go in thinking there's something there already, and if you look for it, you'll find it. But Richard Hoagland was kind of the forefront of that. There was a bit of a big thing, and actually found, I won't say big academic traction, but it was enough that it moved out of the just crazy crackpot and kind of into mainstream for a while, right?
I didn't want to say conspiracy with him because he did base his stuff.
Well, it's not even if you go, it's not a conspiracy in that it's there's nobody that's. Sorry, I'm coming off of a sinus cold, so I got a little bit of a runny nose. There's nobody, it's not like the flat Earth people or whatever thing where they're well, there's a government conspiracy to hide this, right? There's no there's no conspiracy in so much as like there's no active power trying to stop anybody from seeing this. It's more just that
we'll see how this plays out. I beg to differ. I do
I
think
guess
that
my mouth's probably writing
I
checks.
do think
yeah.
I do think that he thinks that the government and NASA are not forthcoming.
I know certainly with the moon he does. He's
okay, so at least so anyway, so he's come on the show tonight, and this is not his voice, so he's in the title to let everyone know that he's now made some moon-related discoveries as well, and that's what he'll be sharing with us this evening.
Right.
Melody, Kate, thank you so much for the generous membership gifting.
Yay.
So now we've had a number of people who can now join the Black Box Club.
Yeah. All you people should say thank you to Melody Kate. It's just good manners.
Scott Dracula, Michael Mesros, Curtis, Drew York, and Alex Markle are all members of the Black Box Club. So there you go.
Scott Dracula, no relation.
So is that enough to go on for the first trivia question? Or a little more?
Well, why don't we go a little more, because we haven't really even got to the...
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Or...
and would kind of embody the spirit of this inquiry as it broadens its focus. But what we did is we presented a year and a half's worth of work. We had 4 trays of slides. We had 600 people stay.
Remember when that was a measure of how much you had to present?
Yeah.
How many trays of that was a unit of measurement. For research. Nice.
For research. And
4 hours
with his trays of slides, and we knew we would have to watch.
Are you ever getting that bottle open, or that's gonna be a pipe dream for later?
I mean, I could go upstairs and get a.
No, that's fine. I
could probably do it now because I know who Richard Hoagland is. I don't need to listen to the intro.
I'm gonna enjoy my tequila, or should I wait for you? I'll wait for you.
Here, yeah. Give me. You listen to the intro.
All right, we're gonna listen to the intro.
Gave me a 5-minute standing ovation at the end. It was quite impressive.
So in other words, you gave them the bulk of your research on Mars to date before you...
And everybody clapped. The self-reported standing ovation is not as impressive always as the actual standing ovation.
Launched into the new stuff.
No, we didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
We basically did a quick reprise because everyone has seen the videos, the NASA briefings, the UN briefing, and all that. Or if they hadn't, we could point them to it. We basically spent the 4 hours talking about the rather remarkable discoveries we have made on the moon. We have found detailed, three-dimensional, unquestionable structural artifacts built by some ancient intelligence on the lunar surface.
Good Lord.
There you guys. You didn't bury the lead. You put it right up there.
Right out there. Couldn't find my nice bottle opener, so I have to use this fridge magnet that was in a Christmas cracker. But it is a bottle opener. So
I thought only my mom did Christmas crackers, although I suppose they wouldn't exist if only my mom did them.
Yeah. That's what I did in the 90s. There's a friend of mine from the UK came to visit, and he's like, "You guys don't do Christmas crackers?" And so since then we've done.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. So he didn't bury it. Richard didn't bury the lead. It was, boom. Got to tell you, unquestionable evidence of artificially constructed.
Oh boy.
Stuff up on the moon.
This cork's in rough shape.
Is it precarious?
It's precarious. I got to be.
Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're not going to just. You can just break it all up and push it in. Then you can have cork in your drink. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, that's exactly. There we go.
Nice.
There we go.
Well done.
Well,
we
you know
found them on multiple photos.
What? Who?
I have to finish this bottle tonight because I am never ever going to. That is now, and that cork is done. Okay, it's gold.
Photographs taken by multiple Surveyor, Lunar Orbiter, and Apollo missions.
Richard, that's an incredibly definitive statement. Are you that sure?
Absolutely. Unquestioned. I've never been more sure.
Never been more sure in his life, Dave.
Never been more sure in his life.
Never been more sure. Cheers to certainty.
Cheers to certainty.
Never question yourself, Dave, on anything.
I know. Yeah. Oh, that stuff's so good.
Mm.
I love Odin's skull.
We 34 minutes into our show, we have our first toast on the Toast to Toast show.
On the Toast to Toast show. Well, there was, circumstances. Cork-related circumstances.
Of anything in my life. And what's really neat, Art, is that we are drowning in data, whereas with Mars, we've been arguing.
I don't know if Shannon realizes what she's saying.
Uh-oh.
Anyways. Hey, there's a super chat from Chris.
Go ahead.
You know what you know what goes good on your newfound joy of coffee tables? Clay tablets. That's exactly right. Just stack them up. Kind of have them there.
I feel like, and this is no knock on clay tablets. Let me
it's
just
not
preface.
cluttered. They're documents. They're useful.
No, documents are clutter.
But if they're in nice, neat, regular stacks,
no, that's all clutter.
What?
I mean,
where is the line then? How can you have anything on a coffee table that isn't cluttered?
No.
Well, then
you can have a drink that is actively in use. I would say, right. If I would rather not, but you could have a drink that was actively in use, and as soon as the drink was done or what your sit down was done, that goes into the dishwasher.
Like, let's say I'm for example, doing my taxes. So I got my laptop, I've got a stack of receipts, I've got forms, they're all here on my coffee table. None of that's clutter because I'm actively using it at this moment.
I would be squirmy about it, but I would allow it.
You realize this makes you sound like a crazy person. If you're like,
this is the line
right now.
This is the line. So now, up until now, I've been clear and sane. Paul is sane and rational and good. Yeah. But now we're found the line.
Into, oh no, dinosaurs are still alive, and you just have to know where to find them. Territory. That's what we're.
No, I am being what I feel like is offering a concession that things that are actively in use
are okay to have on the table in front of you that you're currently using. You don't have to hold them in your hands at all times.
Yeah, it seems like a reasonable concession.
Is it the coffee table itself? So like if you have a desk, for example, like in an office, well, you wouldn't consider your receipts or whatever your documents to be clutter in this situation.
I do. Yeah.
Oh, Paul, I'm really trying to help you here, and you are not making it easy. Let's maybe just stop talking about this.
I know we shouldn't. No, I'm not. Yeah. All right.
Almost like Number of Angels who can dance on the head of a pin and that classic thing. Right. With two photographs at two different lighting angles. With the moon, we are data rich. We have literally thousands of pictures. All told, NASA has millions of pictures. Clementine, the recent Pentagon mission, itself took 1.5 million images of the moon.
Wow.
We are stunningly data rich. Haven't you kind of wondered why we have never really seen the moon, Art? Think back.
No, we did. We missed a super chat from Mark Fernkoff. We're really fucking dropping the ball tonight, Paul. We essentially have one job, and we can't do it.
From Mark Fernkoff.
So that's like before Melody gave her 5 memberships.
Mark.
Oh, my goodness.
A toast-to-toast tumbler makes beer easier to drink. Mark recently got his.
Agreed.
And I didn't think to queue up the photo that I was sent. I will maybe try and find that at some point.
You should try and find that. Mark would be officially welcomed into the Tumblr Club.
That's right.
Tomorrow when it's on and you rested up from the night before.
No, we did Christmas. Yeah, we met. Oh, right. Okay, we're good. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, Mark.
Go to your library and take out a few astronomy texts and begin to look at the section on the Apollo missions to the moon, or the moon in general. What you're going to find, what we have found, what I have puzzled over for the last year and a half, is you're going to find in book after book and text after text and magazine article after magazine article the same tired half-dozen pictures of the moon. Millions of pictures and all.
Does that seem correct?
I mean, in a little bit, yeah. Like you tend to see
same 6 photos.
I mean, I don't know a count, but it's like there are certainly, it's like when I think of the moon, it's like, yeah, there are certain vistas or things that like you tend to always get the same.
Right, but I feel like maybe it's the internet age, and maybe it's because I'm late to my interest in science. But
Yeah.
we have very high resolution scans of the moon that I can go look at.
Yes. Yeah.
And that we don't have a lot of magazine articles about the moon these
No.
days. So,
But in the days before the internet,
mm,
I can see what he's saying, because it
Okay.
does tend to be like, here's the. Now I imagine the reason for that is that we have these stock photos and they're just kind of
yeah, and they were
photos that are
cleared
around,
for.
right?
These are the ones that are cleared for publication. You don't have to ask anyone permission, because that's
Yeah.
always a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, you probably didn't be, hey, Vogue magazine, when are you gonna get a new picture of the moon? Like, yeah, you didn't.
Right. Yeah. If you get to see it, like,
Uh-oh. Did you mute?
right?
Oh, I lost your audio for a second there.
Have you got me back?
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back.
I don't know what happened. It might have just been me.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
So
trivia time. Okay.
we see by the clock on the wall.
Should I explain how the trivia works?
Yeah,
In
do
case
it.
anybody knew, although I'm not sure, but
Do you-
maybe. So multiple choice trivia. There's 4 answers. All you have to do is type in the number of the correct answer, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just a single digit, one number. You hit that number, hit enter, and Paul's amazing computational algorithmic internet AI will keep track of the score, and at the end of the night, we'll have a winner. Tiebreaker is how quickly you answer the question. So you do kind of want to answer, quicker rather than later, but a correct answer is better than a wrong answer. I think that sums it all up, Paul?
I think that sums it all up. This is it here. Okay, all right. I know I'm Apology Live. I'm in the chat. There I go.
There we go.
Okay, so are we ready to count the game? I'm going to start the game. We're going to count it down.
We're ready. And you and I can't answer till the trivia timer's at 25, right?
Sure. We'll do it that way.
Okay.
Who's reading the first one?
You read the first one.
Okay, I'll read the first one. What does Richard C. Hoagland claim about the face on Mars observed in Viking 1 images from 1976? He already mentioned this. Not the answer. It is an artificial structure created by an ancient Martian civilization. It is a top secret military base built by Earth governments. It is a natural mesa formed by wind erosion. Or number 4, it is a digital artifact from image processing. Which
we go.
of these? All right, so
I feel like the first one's a little bit of a layup.
Yeah.
That's okay. We got to.
So
Well, I feel like we can do it now. We can answer.
So
we go.
how many?
5.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Yeah. So one way or the other, you and I are going to be tied coming out of this one.
That's right. Coming out of this one. Deciphering the hieroglyphs, we don't know. Again, a third party created these, so we have no insight. All right.
Hey, there we go.
An artificial structure created by ancient Martian civilization. Okay, well, that's the kind of night it's going to be.
Pause the old trivia game. And
I will pause the old game here.
Back to.
And we'll get back to our.
Is it Dr. Hoagland?
Is it? I don't know.
I actually don't know. I'm gonna Google him. I feel like they'd say it if it was. Richard.
Not necessarily. I don't know if Art's audience necessarily cared who had PhDs and who didn't.
Richard C. Hoagland. Let's see. Born 45. Notable works. Nothing here about any
doc. So we already some suspect on the trivia there.
He's an American author and proponent of various conspiracy theories about NASA, lost aliens positions of the moon.
Well, maybe like some of the other guests that they had, like the Kent Hovind. Maybe he's got some kind of honorary doctorates or some fake doctorates.
I don't even see that. But he has written a lot of books.
All right,
a lot of books. So there you go.
Well, if you write enough books, maybe you just get one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Okay. Well,
It's
we're all in the
cool,
same.
just
The
where they
nice thing
teach
is,
you to toe
what's
the
that?
line, Paul. That's where you learn the doctrine, the dogma.
Hmm.
You
It's
want to be
true.
outside the box. You're not gonna learn the truth in schools.
All right. Well, let's get the trivia clock back up, and off we go.
Mhm.
We have gotten
That's a
really to
good
look
point.
at in the last 25 years, since Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon in July of 1969, are basically the same 6 dumb images.
This guy thinks at least he thinks they walked on the moon.
Yeah,
So we got that going for us.
got that going
I
for
never
us.
thought about it, Richard.
And you also have not seen any stunning 3-dimensional flyovers of the moon.
That's for sure.
JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is NASA's premier interplanetary, mission central, during the Voyager mission, it brought online, parallel processing machines, supercomputers, and crays and whatever. And during the Neptune flyby, it gave us within hours, practically, of the photographs from Voyager 2 of Triton, Neptune's large satellite.
Right?
It gave us a beautiful, incredible 3-dimensional flyover of Triton, this planet-sized moon orbiting Neptune at the edge of the solar system. Think back. Have you ever seen a 3D flyover of our own moon?
No.
Have you ever seen, camera hovering, flying, skimming just above the Sea of Tranquility, darting across Copernicus, making a right turn at Archimedes, going through the Alpine Valley, shooting down over the rim of Tycho?
No.
Nothing.
No, you're
We
right.
have
I see them
millions of
only.
images.
I see them only of Earth, Richard. They will show the technology and how it's done on Earth and so on and so on, but never the moon.
Mars, you see the volcanoes. We have recreated our own version with Sidonia and Dr.
Did they have drones on Mars and Venus?
Pretty sure not in the night. Well, I don't think you.
No, we didn't have like drone technologies. Like what kind of fly?
Oh.
This is what I'm wondering. What kind of flyover is he talking about from '96?
Like Moon has no atmosphere. Mars has very little. You need, I don't know.
Like, is he talking about literally like the simulations that people would program? Like, is
I
he
guess you're
upset
talking
that?
about 3D imagery. What you get in the 90s, 96. It would be.
Yeah, like we're talking. Well, I mean that's post Jurassic Park or whatever. So, but it's.
Yeah.
But they didn't have scans to make 3D models. They would make 3D models of some of these things,
Mhm.
but it wasn't drone footage. Like I don't know what he thinks NASA's covering up. If they're not spending their computer simulation budget on the moon, is that evidence
Or
of
somehow
something?
sending some kind of jetpack flying camera to the moon to.
Because you mentioned Venus and you mentioned Mars, and we definitely did not have drones flying around taking swooping camera shots.
No, in Venus, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right.
Yeah, that's right. Don't go back to the beginning of Ashanti. Nothing happened. Nothing worth talking
We had a
about.
fun sponsor.
We had a fun sponsor. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's trivia night.
You can go back to that.
Yeah.
No, just stay with us now. You'll catch up. It's trivia night. We're good.
Carlotto and the imaging technologies at TASC, the Analytic Sciences Corporation in Reading, when Mark worked there. But think back, we had 3 extraordinary mapping cameras on Apollos 15, 16, and 17. These were 24-inch aerial reconnaissance cameras used by the military.
Are we getting that same clicking we had last week?
Yeah, I did all of a sudden start hearing the clicking.
Oh no, let's see if I can. Okay, so 458. Let me open up the file again. My apologies, everyone.
Uh-oh.
Technical
Technical difficulties. Please stand by.
That's right.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to read this super chat.
Oh, read the super chat.
Q.
Okay, which one?
It's Jason's birthday in Nova Scotia in 13 minutes.
Woo!
Well, now.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
And the imaging technologies at TASC,
Oh, the
the Analytic
clicking's
Sciences
just there, I
Corporation
guess.
in Reading, when Mark worked there.
Wow.
I'll try one more thing.
Okay. Press the D-click button.
Oh,
Oh, it might be brain cramp. It might be from 94 now that you say it, because this is early Art Bell.
It's in the description of the vidya, but yeah, it's early.
Frame
That
of
you
those
mentioned
photographs?
now that you mention it. No, so where is all this stuff?
Well, they dare not show
Yeah.
it to you because it
Yeah,
contains evidence, stunning evidence of artificial structures that they, and we'll get to who they might be, have not wanted you to see for 30 years.
Yeah, this is what I was thinking. He's not fully on board with the governments being good people.
There you go. Yep.
Unless I mean, I guess we'll see. The they is being very secret, so we'll see.
Brookings has been in full force, and we have been living a lie, Art. And that's what I showed the crowd at Ohio State University, and that's why they gave me a standing ovation, because we've finally broken the lie.
Richard.
He's been on the show now for 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he's twice mentioned that he was been given a standing ovation. This is, it's kind of like that, the signal. The smartest person in the room definitely usually doesn't signal, hey, I'm the smartest person in the room.
That sounds like sour grapes from somebody who's never gotten a standing ovation. That's what it sounds like to me.
That's exactly what it is. I guess if I ever get one, within 5 minutes, every 2.5 minutes, I'll be mentioning it. So better not. Better not give me one.
The moon is not 1 pixel from Earth.
Nope.
It's a lot closer. Optical telescopes can and do all the time.
You are going to love this.
I guess I will.
One of our Mars mission members, and I'm going to name names and frame numbers tonight so people can begin the crucial verification process. All right?
Good.
We also had a professional TV crew at Ohio State. We filmed the entire 4 hours. We are in the process of editing the 4 hours. We are hoping to have an online video available so everyone can see these images on their VCR within a matter of weeks, hopefully next 2 or 3 weeks.
I was going to say, because in 96, I was doing the math, like QuickTime wasn't even out
94. Yet. It was 94.
94, yeah. So, you can get it online by ordering a VHS tape is what you can do.
Yeah.
So within weeks, Dave, we could be watching this video.
Yes. I mean, DVDs existed at this time, but boy, they were.
Nope. You couldn't, probably DVD burners, that was expensive. So,
yeah.
Will computer images be available?
Good question. I have not been able to get the data into the hands of our computer people yet, simply because I had to get the stereo, and getting this silently, quietly out of NASA has been like pulling teeth on a mountain lion. While the lion is asleep,
but
you don't want to wake up the lion.
Yeah. So you did do it, though.
We did do it, and that's why we're delaying. If we didn't want to include that, we could probably have this thing ready in a week or so.
Okay.
But I want to wait about 2 or 3 weeks so that Carlotta can take the stereo, the 3-dimensional, 2 different missions, 5 different geometries, 3 different lightings that we've got of some of these objects.
And a partridge in a pear tree. I would actually be curious to let people know, is the audio too loud or too quiet? I can't tell if it's, or is it perfect? Let us know whether the mixing and the balance. We had some sound changes in our setup this week, and in hope to improve things other than the clicking, so let me know. Jason, happy birthday, Jason.
Happy birthday.
Birthday person.
Happy
small
birthday.
Present for Jason, it's their birthday, and they gave us a gift, Dave.
Well, I mean, we're pretty fantastic.
Small present from me to support you all for what you've given me. Thanks so much for all you do. We got a birthday cake and a wine and the cheers glasses. Thank you so much. Cheers, Jason, to you. Happy birthday, Jason.
Congratulations, Jason, on not dying for another year. Keep up the good work.
Cheers. I wonder if we can get the Toast to Toast logo on one of those Viking mugs.
I mean, you can get pretty much anything if you're willing to pay for it.
I suppose so. We have to
somewhere. Not somewhere I know exactly where it is. It's on the shelf. I have like an actual drinking horn.
You know what? Maybe the good people over at Clay Tablets could
Well,
hook us up with. I don't know if they only do tablets,
that
or if they also do,
might have been something I should have asked before.
or if they do other items.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Do they
already
do other
done
clay items, or just the tablets? We
that.
don't want to.
I think they do clay pipes
Oh,
and clay tiles, like they do clay tennis courts.
I feel like that's it's a relatively easy step from the clay tablet to the clay tiles. That feels like in the same family,
Yeah,
but it's very different distribution channels.
different.
The people at Home Depot are uninterested in long
Yeah,
term documentation.
but they should be if they're thinking of
Well,
the future.
it's true.
But sadly, so many people are just short-sighted.
Literally create the 3D so that you will fly around the several thousand-foot high crystalline skyscrapers we have found standing on the moon.
How high, Richard?
Several thousand feet.
Several.
What did you
Being
just
asked
say?
if I would like a Spice Girls T-shirt, and I would like one.
Yeah, you need to. You need to. That was we were given funds for that. We need to allocate those funds
I know.
correctly.
That's it's all tied up still in red tape and going around. It'll be in the next batch. The next batch of T-shirts I buy.
All right.
1,000 feet.
And we have them on photographs from 2 different archives.
I feel like 1,000-foot tall structure on the moon,
Yeah.
on the light side of the moon,
Yeah.
that even just the person with the telescope should be able to find that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, yeah, a half decent telescope. Yeah.
I would think so. But the Richard here is telling us that some of these structures are 1,000 feet tall.
I mean, there's yeah. Well, but they just look like mountains if you look at them right away.
Oh, I see. Jay Victor writes, Paul, what's the channel's official stance on Ottomans?
Better than those damn
Ottomans, they don't collect
Eastern Roman Empire
clutter as
my
much. But I feel like they themselves are clutter. But I suppose, if someone needed an Ottoman for there was some.
I mean, it's really just a footstool. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah. So, but we have the way we have our sofa arranged. I would never use an Ottoman, and Shannon kind of has a built-in Ottoman situation. So
That's because you got a big sectional couch. If you
yeah,
had
we have the big sectional.
like Chesterfield,
Mm-hmm.
you would you don't really. There's no place to put your feet up. Then you need.
So I feel like I would feel like the Ottoman itself is clutter, but mercifully, it wouldn't actually collect more clutter. Now,
I mean, mine would.
really? All right. Well, then, I suppose people could just be throwing magazines and who knows
Laundry.
what on there. Laundry. I mean, it's true.
If there's a surface, I'll put stuff on it.
Yeah, that's why surfaces in general are just a mistake.
3 different,
like the moon, for example. We just got the moon there, and the people are just cluttering it up with their 1,000-foot structures.
different technologies, what is it now? 3 different missions, okay? I have to keep track of the numbers here.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. The geologists of our team, most of whom had not seen what I have been working on because I've been holding it very close to the vest, some of them were able to assemble at Ohio State on Thursday night. They were absolutely blown away. They were boggled because they know this is not what the geology of the moon should look like. It just doesn't look like that, boys and girls. And the amazing thing to me, more so than the artifacts, is how they've kept the secret. And that to me is going to be the most amazing puzzle of all, because I can't imagine that we're the first to have seen this. I do know that our technology is a lot better on one desk than all of NASA had when these photographs were taken. But I also have now been seeing clues in the Lunar Science Conference papers, in the proceedings of the scientists get together every year in Houston, where they gather and present papers on the lunar studies, the rock, the photographs, and all that. I see lots and lots of clues that other scientists have seen some of this before and didn't know what they were seeing. I also know that some scientists had to have known what they were seeing because there's just the fingerprints of their manipulation of the rest of them away. It's like
that's mostly just he's saying nothing, right?
Well, now we're getting the conspiracy. Yeah.
I suppose, yeah. Oh, so what he's essentially now saying, right, is that people are covering it up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, all right. So Chris asks Paul, "What about a clay coffee table for your clay tablets?" Well, I don't see how that would help.
That's now a very heavy coffee table.
It's a very, very heavy. That's true. Also breakable. If you kind of kick it wrong, it would break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's maybe not as good.
Shannon's statement is 100% accurate. I do in fact back that up. I have seen it with my own eyes.
Oh, you're just affirming. You're not saying you endorse the situation. You're just affirming of the truth telling.
I'm just affirming that what Shannon's saying is true. Yeah.
Well, as the Bible says, with two witnesses, you got a fact. So
that's exactly it. Sonic Shroom with the $2 super chat. The moon people taught NASA about Velcro. That's true. That's true.
That yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We got
trivia.
We do. That's what I was trying to get to here, just to get that clock started.
So far, Paul and I are tied at one question apiece with our guest trivia.
I wonder what the next question will be.
I don't know. Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Cheating son of a.
Now we're just in the same boat as you're in the same boat with all the rest of us. How we normally experience the show, and that is with no idea what's coming up.
It was good. That is still maybe the best cheese I've ever had. I can't remember. Was it the Godminster
cheese?
Godminster.
Yeah.
Oh,
every once in a while, I should do a search to see if I can find Godminster cheese here, and it's always sold. It's like coming in 2 weeks and then sold out within 90 seconds. Anyway. Oh, we got a question, right? Dave.
According to Hoagland, what hidden message is encoded in the dimensions of the face on Mars? Is it 1, the speed of light and vacuum? 2, the mathematical constant pi and the number e? 3, the coordinates of the Great Pyramid of Giza? Or 4, the Fibonacci sequence?
Ooh, this is a trickier question.
This is, because these are all
plausible.
I think I know the answer, though. I think I know the actual answer.
So what? How much? When are we allowed to say it?
I'm putting mine in at 5.
Oh, at 5. Okay, 5.
Yeah.
Go. Oh, you and I disagreed, so we'll see.
Disagreed,
we'll see. We'll see which one.
Or unless we're both wrong, in which case we.
That's true. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which is a very.
Now the stakes are high now. Oh, Fibonacci was the popular answer.
Yeah, but it was the.
I thought maybe the constant pi was the most natural one because it's a ratio. It'd be weird.
I thought I remembered him talking about that, and it was like because it was like, well, this is why it's the people who built the pyramid, or the same people that built did this because it's the same. Blah blah blah. Anyway,
so my ignorance actually helped me here. I'm less familiar.
It turns out my ignorance is. I thought I knew it was true, and I'm.
No, that's the thing. You had just enough information to be dangerous, as they say.
Call me Jane because.
Okay, so there's 8 questions.
Okay.
So we've got 2. We got 2 so far. We'll put up the timer again.
We might even maybe we'll have to see if any of our longtime friends of the channel maybe want to be guest question writers one week or another.
Oh, that would be that. Yeah, we would be very open to that.
Yeah,
very open to that.
We'll be worried that we're gonna get like Kip Scott or Dapper Dino or somebody who really knows their shit, and they're like questions is like, oh, whatever lol of the thing is I don't know I don't even understand the words in your question. Anyways, that's a question for the other day.
That's right. Well, we wouldn't let, like, for example, we wouldn't let Kip write trivia on, like, the Dead Sea Scrolls, because, like,
Yeah. But maybe he'd
no,
write very good trivia on the Dead Sea. Trivia writing is a
maybe,
bit of an art. You never know. But yes, it's
maybe,
the
but
don't write trivia that you would find hard.
mhm,
Write something your parents would be able to answer.
that's right.
Percent who are honest can be manipulated by the 1% who are not, because 99% believe that everybody is honest and they don't think anybody would ever lie to them in NASA, and that's why this weirdness has succeeded.
That doesn't seem true.
No.
Everyone just thinks 99% of people are honest. Maybe the world has just become more cynical
I guess.
since 1994.
I feel like in 1994, I don't know if you remember the 80s, but there was a lot
I
of
do.
cynicism.
There
Had to
was,
come
yeah.
out of that.
I
But
feel like universal trust was in my lifetime. I don't remember a time of universal trust.
I certainly
No.
feel, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that accounts for this country, but what about other governments, other countries?
Well, that gets into very speculative territory, Art. For one thing, we're the only nation to send stuff to the moon except for the Russians, right?
Right.
Well,
But we're not certainly the only nation to do careful photographic work of the moon.
well, yes, we are.
We are?
Yeah. Now, there is one weirdness in that statement that I must tell you.
What about the British, Richard? They do quite a bit of
The
it.
British have not been to the moon.
Not been to the moon, but they do a lot of photographic looking.
No, but you need to be in lunar orbit, again, to see the level of detail, to know with absolute certainty.
So let me just to see if I'm understanding. He's saying, much like Google Earth, there's a few
Right,
sections of on Earth with Google Earth where they have the world governments. There's certain portions we can't see on
right,
those high-res scans.
right.
It seems like he was proposing, before the trivia question we got distracted, that he was saying that NASA was not giving us photos of certain sections.
Yes.
Am I right about that? And
That
now
is-
Art
that
is
is
saying,
correct,
well, how do you get the other governments to agree?
And
Which is a
he's
great
saying-
question.
It's a great question. I believe the answer he's trying to say. Oh, look who showed up! It's our good friend Northern Spike. That not that you can't see it from Earth, it's that you need to be the angle. This part is kind of true. It's like essentially you're always going to get, if you're taking a photo from Earth to the moon of, say, a spot.
Oh, I see.
Right, because the moon is tidally locked to the Earth, so you're really always going to be looking at the same, essentially like top down or whatever.
So
there are
Art wasn't saying that Britain has sent satellites up.
No, Art was saying
Close.
like everybody, like Britain's taking lots
Just
of there's lots of
right.
people who
We're
take
all taking
very
pictures of the bright side of the moon that's locked tidally
Yeah.
that's locked to us. Gotcha.
And I believe Hoagland's saying there's things you can't see, kind of like, you don't really get an idea of New York City if you're just taking a picture of New York from top down from 100 miles away. Right, it's like yeah, I can see there's a lot of buildings, I can see the
Right.
street. I
And
don't
you
really
don't
get
get-
a sense of how tall these buildings are to each other and some things until I go
Right, because
to,
you need a certain amount of parallax.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, you need to be, and it's my understanding that even from the furthest point on the Earth to the other point of the Earth doesn't give you, on that kind of perspective, enough parallax to really tell much.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
okay. Gotcha.
That's, I believe, his point.
Okay. That's all. Thank you for clarifying, because I was confused. Perfect. We have a super chat, Dave. It's
Yes.
a red super chat, the
Red
rarest.
super chats from the
Northern Spike.
person who's dropped more red super chats on this channel than
I know.
everybody else combined. Northern Spike, big friend of the channel. And you know what Northern Spike says? Hello, governor.
That's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to read it in
You
a
sound
Cockney
like you're from
in a
London.
Cockney accent.
I'm pretty sure any Cockney would punch me for trying.
No, well, are you gonna be there anytime soon? Probably not. Although you never know. Someone with a
You never
Cockney, someone from that background could be visiting your town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to London. I've never been. Anyways, that's the thing. Yes. So I believe Hoagland's saying that because the US had orbited the moon and was taking pictures all around with these 3 high-res cameras on the Apollo space probes and other things, that they have all of these high-res pictures
Right.
from
So
all of these
it's
different angles.
right. You're getting the different perspective because it's in order. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. So far, it's not implausible what he's saying.
Mm.
If we're gonna entertain the notion at all,
Yeah.
this makes sense. Okay.
what you're seeing.
I see.
You have to be in lunar orbit. Now, let me tell you one weirdness that I don't know where to put this on the landscape, and so I'll just lay out the evidence and you can decide what it means.
All right.
About a year ago, a Japanese television network came to us wanting to film me for a program vis-a-vis the monuments Mars.
Right.
And negotiating with the Japanese is an art form all unto itself.
Yes, I know.
Particularly when you do it by fax, long distance between here and Tokyo.
Oh, I know.
So, I mean, I was so much.
I mean, okay. But also, fax, like email, does not care how far away. Like, faxing across town is the same as faxing to Japan. So that's all. Yeah.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interested in the money as I was interested in the leverage that having a Japanese television network working with us could give us to answer a major mystery in my own mind. In 1991, one of the major car companies in Japan, I believe it was Honda, put a spacecraft in orbit around the moon. Are you aware of that?
No, I was not.
Well, see how quietly it occurred?
Honda put a space...
Honda, yep.
When was this?
In 1991. It was a two-component mission. One part of the spacecraft went into a high Earth orbit, and the other was placed in...
What, the who?
Are you Googling this right now?
No, I'm actually was going to go and make Dapper Dino a mod in my chat because, you know.
Oh, well, you do that. I'm gonna Google. I don't remember ever hearing of this, but I mean, maybe it's true.
Okay, so look out, everybody. We're giving
This is prime viewing right here.
That's right. We're the only thing on YouTube right now.
Huh. The Highton / Hagoromo, the lunar orbiter, blah, 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 Japan's first ever lunar flyby. It was a lunar orbiter and lunar surface impact, making Japan only the third nation to achieve these goals after the U.S. and the USSR, obviously. I feel it doesn't really. It sounds like okay. So this was like a Japanese government. So Honda built it, but
This is a good question, Scotty. What's happening? We're watching.
Yeah.
We're all watching Dave look things up on the internet.
Yes. So Japan did have a lunar orbiter. It's a little bit inaccurate to say Honda sent but
Gotcha.
That'd be like saying General Electric sent. It was like General Electric
Right.
built a lot of stuff
In a way,
but
this is like low key racism.
Yeah.
A little
It was
bit.
Piccolo, Philly 3000. Piccolo blew up the moon to stop Gohan from turning into a monkey. Giant super
So, like,
creature.
Is this roughly the same as if like Germany achieved something and we said, "Oh, Volkswagen did such and such"?
Yeah. Or like saying Rolls-Royce, flew a lot of bombers, or Mercedes-Benz flew a lot of bombers against London in the 40s.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
I mean, those are all Mercedes-Benz engines in those German bombers, but it's not like they were, the ones kind of.
Those good people at Duracell, Dave. Those bastards at Duracell. They've killed more people. Yeah.
But it's also true. I didn't even know that there was a Japanese mission to the moon period in 1991. So there you go.
Look, see, we are an education-based show.
So wait a minute, but he's just contradicting himself because he was saying only the U.S. and USSR earlier have.
That's true. He did
orbited the moon and have these things, and then he's like, "Oh, the Japanese did it." It's like, well, wait a minute, you just.
Well, yeah. Why are they covering up the same regions?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, they're very polite.
Uh-oh.
Lunar orbit. Now, let me pose the question. Have you ever known the Japanese to go anywhere without a camera?
No, of course not.
Have you seen any pictures from the Japanese moon orbiting mission?
Richard, I didn't know they went to the moon.
Well, I did. So
All right, so we switched from low-key racism. Just all right.
Straight up.
This is just
I mean,
fun stereotypes, Dave.
although I do think they probably did have a camera on their lunar orbiter. I mean, why would you not? But
Yeah. Have you been to Banff, Dave? Have you been to Banff?
I have
Yep.
been to Banff. Yeah, I've seen.
Yep.
It's yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. I would do a very stereotypical impersonation of a Japanese camera,
No.
but I don't think people would understand that I'm not making fun of the stereotype.
That's right.
Yeah.
All
So I
right.
have all right. I'm just going to get off topic because it's our show, and what the hell. I have a book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's called A Practical Guide to Racism, and it's written as if it's a series of lectures from the early 1900s about various races and it's one of my favorite litmus tests to give people to see, do you get the joke is that this book it's like Daily Show level satire or the Colbert Report, right, where it's like this is actually making fun of all of this, and if you actually read the book, it's very clear that this book is mocking stereotypes and is racist. But I've also given it to people who thought that this is absolutely like, oh, this is a real
so
thing.
they were worried about you?
No, or they're like, oh man, yeah, like it's nice to see it, like in somebody just laying it all out in print, brother. And you're like,
oh yeah,
dear.
even worse. Oh shoot. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Uh-oh.
You have this book too, right, Dave?
I mean, I don't have it in book form.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anyways,
If somebody is looking for a Christmas gift for you,
I've never even heard of that book, but seems like something I'd like. But the version I have of the book isn't the one that you showed there. It's it's a hardcover, and it's just plain green. Like there is no dust jacket to it, and it's like embossed in gold on it, A Practical Guide to Racism. Like it looks like a book that was published in the 1920s. That's the one, right? Like it's got the old style, and everything about it is like makes it look like it is it's
right.
It's a very funny book. I enjoy it very much.
Yeah, so anyone who agrees with it too much.
Yeah, who doesn't get that this is, the old like people who read who wrote Jonathan Swift, Modest Proposal, right, about
yes,
using Irish babies at a food store. And you're like, yeah, that's finally we can get something useful to the Irish. It's like, oh no, you don't get this at all, do you? Oh dear. Oh.
I also like that Google thinks that Amazon seems to think that the publication date of this is 1723.
25.
The paperback came out in 2008, but the hardcover
that sounds a little more accurate.
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, you know what? We've had a digression. The timer's almost done.
All right, should we get to the trivia, you think?
Maybe it's just time for our third trivia. Hopefully this is where I can catch back up with you.
That's right. I've surged ahead with my knowledge of
you're 2-1.
That's correct.
Or over me. You're literally doubling my points. I'm gonna have to bribe Shannon to come in there and distract you during trivia questions. Yeah. There's a bottle of Nova 7 in it for you, Shannon. Go in, just sort of keep poking them.
I have to read this one. This is me.
Yes. This is your turn.
Okay. Here we go. Eventually. Okay. Hoagland's theory about the moon includes which of the following claims? 1. The moon is younger than previously thought by scientists. Oh, that's at least Kent Hovind's. 2. The moon is hollow and home to an alien base. 3. The moon is capable of supporting life in underground oceans. Also plausible. 4. The moon is an artificially constructed object.
These are all
those are
classic conspiracy theories for the moon.
They are. Which one does Mr. Hoagland go by? I have my guess ready to go.
I have my guess too.
Okay, I guess we can enter now.
Yeah. Oh, we went different again.
Did we go different again? Okay, we'll see what it is.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I was guessing.
I don't
on
see.
this one, though.
We're guessing because I don't know Richard per se. Oh,
Yeah. Shit, Paul, you're kicking my ass.
all right. I've tripled your points.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought number one was the least likely because
Yeah.
that seemed like a Kent Hovind to answer. All right. So you guessed which one, Dave? 3?
I guess 2. I guess
2.
2.
Hollow.
is
So
kind
Hollow
of-
Moon is definitely a theory out there for sure.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. All of these are things I've heard. I was
Yeah.
trying to remember what's. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll reset that clock.
Reset the clock. Stop the timer. We're gonna be good to go. The game's
Okay.
not still
Well,
running, right?
no, it's not running. Got it paused. Got it on lock, as they say. As the kids say that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what the kids say.
Probably.
Long distance, my colleagues in
Looking at that,
Tokyo,
Who launched this thing?
the Japanese space agency, ISA, I believe it's called, ISA.
Wow.
But it was primarily, remember, the corporations over there are driving train. Shimizu is planning an orbital Hilton and a Japanese moon base.
Are they really?
Yep.
When do they project that?
Well, they're fuzzy on the dates, and
I mean, so I do remember, Dave.
Yeah.
Expo 86.
Yeah.
Which I attended.
Okay. Where was
Because
it?
I was alive.
Is that in Montreal?
Vancouver.
Vancouver, Expo 86. Right.
69 Expo. Montreal Expos is 68, maybe something like that. I don't remember. Anyway,
Right. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
86 was in Vancouver, and a lot of the pavilions did have, like, they were predicting, in 86 they were predicting that, like, 20 years in the future, in the year 2000, that that there would be like space hotels
Yeah.
and a lot of that kind of stuff. So this was in that era. People were still thinking that space tourism was going to be
A real thing.
a real thing, and not just for billionaires, like that space tourism was somehow going to be. So I do remember this notion of, like, if you could build of course you can't because things are orbiting, but if you could build like a tube most of the way out there.
Space elevator, right? That's
Space
the
elevator, yeah.
The whole idea of a space elevator,
Mm-hmm.
which is still an idea,
Yeah.
still, but not in the same way that.
No.
Not in the.
I don't know why.
You watch Foundation?
Yes. I'm caught up.
Yeah. I'm not.
You're not?
No, I only watched the first 4 episodes of season 2,
Hmm.
and then I can't remember. I got really busy and then just never got back to it. So I need to.
It ends
go
well.
back.
It ends well. I have concerns about where season 3 might be going, but we can talk about that once you're caught up.
Yeah.
all right, because the politics aren't ready.
I see.
Anyway, so I am.
Did you watch 3 Body Problem?
No, I've read the books, but I have not watched the new series.
Okay. Well, I also want to have your thoughts about how on 3 Body Problem, the show, because I have not read the book. So my concern I have now is that I loved it on Netflix.
Yeah.
But Netflix isn't known for keeping series around for the long run.
Yeah.
So my concern is that we may not get there.
I know a friend of mine who deeply loves the books is watching the Netflix phone is also like, the Netflix show is really good and very faithful to the books.
Yeah.
So for what that's worth, but I myself can't say, so I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
The Oilers are the worst
so
team. The Oilers are the worst team that still have a chance to win the President's Cup.
Yeah, that is accurate. Flames sure don't. Oh, the Flames.
The Oilers could still be first in the entire league.
and
they're tied with they're tied with the Coyotes right now. All right.
I'm interested in getting hold of these pictures that I.
Oh, wait, Kip. Also, we
you need to go back and watch our sponsor.
Dave wants you to. We had discussion about you, and also Dave wants you to write trivia for us in the future. I think is what he was saying. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I imagine, had to have been taken by the Japanese mission, right?
Of course.
So rather than the normal international exchange of, dollars for rights and all this, I basically propose we do this for a very modest amount, but I want access to the Japanese lunar pictures.
Ah.
Okay?
Yes.
Because I'm beginning to build the data file, and I'm trying to get a handle on what in the world we got on the moon that no one wants to talk about.
So would you
after-
get back? So,
What's that
No.
say?
But is he willing to pay for him? No, he wants the Japanese to give him for free.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You and your research project.
Famously, Japan likes to share with other countries for no reason.
As most countries do.
Yeah. Hmm.
Sadi Hoagland-san,
How much time we got?
we're all right.
All right. The day after I sent the fax, remember, when you're dealing with fax between the U.S. and Tokyo, you're dealing into tomorrow.
Yes.
Crossing the international date line, so it's already tomorrow over there.
That's correct, yes.
So the
Is this why faxes are harder? Because you're sending them into the future?
Yes, absolutely. 'Cause I mean,
Go ahead.
that's accurate. You send the fax and they get it sometime in the future.
It's true.
Possibly an agreement can be reached, Kip. We're not willing to rule it out. Paul, we got a super chat.
We do, from Joe Hill. $5 super chat. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Joe. Greetings, you fine Albertan gentlemen. Now,
It's because I'm an Albertan and Paul's a gentleman.
some of this is
It covers
true.
both of us.
So the greetings part, that's up to you. The
Yeah.
fine and Albertan and gentlemen are all subjective.
Oh, Paul, I've seen you without a shirt. You're fine. Damn, son. I've got an Alberta birth certificate, so they can't.
All right, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
They can't.
I don't know
take that
about
away.
gentlemen, but fair enough. We appreciate you, Joe, and your we're not very good at taking compliments, apparently. So there you go.
I'm better at dishing them.
I lived in Alberta for a while, so
Yeah. A healthy,
Fax
good
machine rings
long time.
healthy, good long time.
very weird hours when you're trying to do this.
Right.
Literally within hours of my sending this fax, where that was the condition for my going ahead with this arrangement,
Yes.
my contact sent me a copy of the Tokyo Times back by fax that morning, which announced that the Japanese spacecraft had crashed on the moon.
Oh, my.
Within hours. And further, it stated...
Wait, what? Japanese spacecraft crashed on the moon?
It was, so that was the thing I read quickly. Like it was on purpose. It was,
On purpose. Okay.
Right, they orbited the moon and then did an impact.
Okay, gotcha. So somehow he thinks that because of the coincidental timing, he sent a fax and then the newspaper came out that we should be making something of this coincidence.
I guess.
that it only took 2 pictures, neither of which was usable.
Yeah, right. Incredible.
I hate to say, Art, but I think the fix is in.
The international fix.
Exactly. We have one world.
One world, one space agency, yeah.
And the last vestige of competition vanished when the Soviet Union collapsed in all its glory, a couple of years ago.
Right.
The fact that
In the chat, Dave, there's people are discussing Shannon's question.
I mean, I know the actual answer. I don't know if whether to give an actual answer or a joke.
The lovely Shannon Q with a $2 super chat. What do you even call someone from Saskatchewan?
What would you say, Paul?
What is so
Sasquatch
what
is good.
Do you
want to know the real answer,
Saskatchewanian?
Yeah, Saskatchewanian.
Yeah, is what I'm used to. But I was trying to think of
Saskatchewan would refer to themselves as. Yeah.
Saskatchewanite. No, Saskatchewanian is what I'm used to. I was trying to think if there was a funnier phrase that we could use for it, but
Sasquatch is better.
Sasquatch is better. That's right.
Yeah.
Russians have now delayed
We don't need a moniker because we're a rectangle. Damn it.
It literally never comes up. That could be the call someone Saskatchewan. Nobody knows because it literally never comes up.
Why would you bring that up in a conversation? Everyone just gives you the pity. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In my experience, you call somebody from Saskatchewan, shut the fuck up, Dave. That's generally what I hear. Yeah.
Again, going on the wake of Mars
Ironically,
Observer
also, you call somebody who works at a bank, Shannon. So there you go.
disappearing. If it weren't for the fact that we've now got them by the Lotus's Family Radio, so I can't tell you who got them by.
So, Richard, we are now the gatekeepers.
We are the gatekeepers, and fortunately, the Constitution still prevails. Fortunately, we've got the data, and fortunately, the American people can take back their space program, but they've got to get mad enough to decide this nonsense is high time it ended.
Enough already, huh? And you're convinced.
That potash joke really made me laugh. That's good. Potash.
That's
a good word.
If James Cameron was writing a script about Saskatchewan, that's what it would. Yeah.
Right. You mean potash? Yeah. Potash.
That's right.
To this, I mean, you're sure of it. There's no question.
It's not just me. When I send you the tape, you're high on the list of getting the first copies next week of what we call the preview copies.
Great.
I had a meeting this afternoon with our production people, and I've set aside in the budget 100 copies, freebies, to be given out to media, political people, scientists, colleagues, kind of high.
100 VHS tapes isn't actually that cheap. It's back in the day, you couldn't just be giving people a link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's giving them to political people, Paul. High-level researchers.
High level. Top
people
men.
At the highest levels are getting these tapes.
They have top men working on it, Dave.
Top in his field.
Targets, because once you see what is
alien buildings on the moon.
There, what we have found, your life will never be the same again, and you will demand that Bill Clinton do with NASA what he's done with the Atomic Energy Commission. Open the damn file.
Is he likely to do that?
We are talking with the Clinton administration even as we speak. We had a conference call yesterday with one of the president's closest friends, someone who has taken the McDaniel document into the...
I gotta think, in the light of hindsight.
Yeah.
That if Bill Clinton had at his disposal the ability to distract the whole country.
Or Paul.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton did his duty like a good soldier and did distract the entire country.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, I just feel like if he had in his holster, in his repertoire, in his things he could have done.
Yeah, in his holster?
His holster.
Yeah.
Don't touch his holster, Dave.
Well.
If Bill Clinton could have said, "Hey, you know what? Forget about me. There's buildings on the moon."
Yeah.
I feel like he might have been tempted to pull that one out.
Might have been tempted to throw that out at some point during his he still got 2 terms, you know?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Vishanti with her member chat writes, back in my day, we farmed VHS tapes uphill barefoot.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure did.
Back in my day, we also, if you got a VHS tape, for a promo VHS tape, what you did was you taped over. You literally put a piece of Scotch tape or a masking tape over the little section.
Yes.
That was punched out that wouldn't let you record over it. Because
Yeah.
you can't just be letting VHS tape go to waste.
Yep. Well, I got some pretty awesome VHS tapes through my life. I remember I had one. It was some, like, I got it from like a youth group or something somewhere. It was like a Christian stand-up comedian.
Oh,
so it was like everything that's bad about like a comedian trying to like do a thing for like 12 and 13-year-olds.
Right.
And a Christian comedian, so like just atrocious, like just terrible on every level. And so I watched about 5 minutes of that, and then tape went over.
Oh no, because now I would, in retrospect, I would pay to have that tape.
Yeah.
With the original content. But no, because you would get promo tapes from
like even if you like ordered exercise equipment, they would like send you,
Yeah.
hey, here's a 30-minute workout tape or whatever. Well, I'm definitely gonna tape over
Get your-
that.
Get your Soloflex tape.
That's
Yep.
right. Yeah. You tape over it so that you can tape over it. And if
Yeah.
you know, you know, and if you don't understand what we're talking about, well then enjoy your fidget spinners or whatever it is
Yeah.
that you like.
Enjoy your probably 30 to 40 more years of life than Paul and I will get to enjoy.
That's right. Enjoy that next full solar eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lunar eclipse, I guess, but yes.
Yeah, we all know what you mean.
Yeah.
The Oval Office, and I am going to try to set up a situation where Bill Clinton either can become a hero, a la the man that he venerates, John Kennedy,
Yes.
or history will write something different. Evidence is there.
More like a Richard Nixon.
There are two ways you can write history. You can either lead or you can follow.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, leadership is demanded. The positive benefit, Brookings, aside, positive benefit of leveling with the American people, presenting clearly and concisely what we've got and now what we can do with it, the extraordinary opportunities and the benefits to the economy, to the global political situation, to domestic, peace and tranquility, all of the positive things that can happen.
What benefits the economy will be exactly if we find out there's buildings on the moon?
Well, maybe maybe there's stuff in these buildings that we can sell at a garage sale.
Possibly. Turns out alien bones are made of platinum.
That's right. We did have a super chat from Left-Handed Jedi. Big VCR killed Betamax. Well,
I mean, it's kind of accurate, actually.
Well, more big VHS, more specifically.
Yeah. It's implied.
The folks at the Philips and the JVCs and the like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sony got burned on that one.
Yeah. I got burned on that one because I convinced my parents to buy a Betamax.
Yeah, I remember watching Beta at your house.
And my dad was none too impressed that several years down the road, suddenly, turns out, Dad, we need a VHS machine now because
our family was all VHS all the way. I don't know. We never could. I would go into the movie rental store and see the little sad section of Betamax tapes there. And, like, who has those? I'll tell you who. Nerds.
So then when I was pitching for can we get a Laserdisc player, he rightfully was like, if you want to get a Laserdisc player, you can pay for that yourself, buckaroo, because you
I bet he didn't say it quite like that, but
buckaroo, no, but he did, yeah, that was the stipulation, was that you can paper route money can go towards the the good old Laserdisc player, because
you still have your Laserdisc player?
No.
Oh,
I still have some of the laser discs though.
Yeah. I assume the Star Wars.
Yeah. Northern Spike, thank you so much.
Yeah.
To continue the YouTube premium subscription and finally start the dropout subscription.
Hey, I've got a dropout subscription, Northern Spike. So, my money went to the aforementioned source because I'm not intellectually bankrupt. Like, clock
on the wall
says
clock on the wall.
First time I saw Return of the Jedi was Laserdisc. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, it's my turn to read, right?
Yes, but we have 15 seconds.
I remember seeing A New Hope on Laserdisc at your house, and like that was where you could see, it's like, oh, I can see the rope pulling that. I can see,
and especially the end scene. It's like, those people are not real people. That's a painting of people.
And you can see the outline around like all the TIE fighters in space and everything. You can actually see.
It was too high quality for the day.
Too high quality, yeah. So, Paul, what
Yes.
controversial claim did Hoagland make about NASA and ancient civilizations? 1, that NASA hides evidence of alien civilizations on Mars and the Moon. 2, that NASA has no interest in archaeology or ancient civilizations. 3, that NASA frequently collaborates with archaeologists to study ancient technology. Or 4, that NASA discovered the ruins of Atlantis on the ocean floor. I mean, I actually feel like more than one of these.
I feel like one of them though is definitely least likely.
Yeah.
I feel like number 4, not is least likely.
Anyways, I got mine in there. You got
You
to put
got your answer
quick.
in. All right.
Yours
Oh,
in?
I got mine in.
You're almost, you might have run out of time there.
I'm behind you. I'm right behind you. If we both got this right, you get the points.
Yeah, we both got it right. Or at least that's the answer I put in. I guess we'll see.
So no one thought that the NASA has no interest
in archaeologists or HR advice. All right. Well.
All right. I felt like the ocean floor seemed least likely to me.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Fair enough.
We got a super chat from Joe Hill.
Super chat. Hold on, I have to scroll past all these numbers that people had in the
I
chat
know,
here.
it's so hard.
Life is tricky, but worth it to hang out with all of you. You can go ahead and read this one.
I had the Dances with Wolves laser disc, and my mom got special pot holders so we could flip it to see the second half of the movie.
Okay, because it was warm?
Or maybe just to protect, so you didn't want to get your hands on the...
maybe. Because I also had the Dances with Wolves Laserdisc. It was amazing. But yeah, it was one of the ones, it was a movie that did not fit on a single Laserdisc, so you had to...
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, depending on the quality. So like, I remember the Star Wars ones you had, I think they were like, it was like 6 sides a movie or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so yes, you're correct. You could get higher quality ones. So now we would think of it as a higher bit rate, right? Like it was more.
Mm-hmm. And it was because the ones you had, you could pause every single frame. You could go frame by frame if you wanted.
That's right. Yeah. So instead of
like every 10 frames or something, you could actually pause it and yeah.
So if you remember old video compression, it was how many keyframes did you have?
Mazaro says because it was very warm. It was warm. Too warm.
Oh, I see. So my Laserdisc player didn't make the discs warm, but you absolutely, that's funny. But I was a little paranoid about touching them. So, the other movie I loved to watch on Laserdisc was Alien. Again, because it was just the way the movie is so subtle with its design, but it's so in the black, like everything's black, but so on VHS that all just got washed out to basically a big black frame.
Yes.
And so the first time I saw it on Laserdisc, where it's like, oh, there's like details in everything, right? That was amazing. Something that people watching on their 4K or their 8K, they don't know what things were like.
No, I also remember because DVDs were really bad for that
artifacting. The artifacting on DVDs.
And I remember playing around with a high def plasma TV, and I had a super bit version of The Fifth Element. So our mutual friend Trevor,
yes,
who also like me is a big fan of Fifth Element. So at one point we got the normal DVD because I have like 7 versions of The Fifth Element. We had the normal DVD, the Superbit DVD, and then the HD disc. Remember the Microsoft and
I do, yeah,
and Blu-ray, and we compared all of them on the same TV to
HD DVD, yeah.
HD DVD, yeah. And the HD DVD actually had the best detail in like the black.
I know, it was the Betamax of that race.
Yeah. Although Blu-ray is also it's not quite apples to orange because Blu-ray also is very good. Anyways, I think meandered
back to shaking. We take this. That was us shaking our fist at the sky and being old people.
Yeah. I was thinking SCTV, the Jerry Todd show where he does all this video, whatever. Yeah. Fifth Element is a perfect movie.
By being honest on this issue, by going forward with the research and the development and making use of this knowledge for the benefit of all mankind, so far outweigh the fears of a few timid bureaucrats who have been huddling, quivering, shivering under the covers for 30 years because Margaret Mead said we would destroy civilization. If you tell us that will not happen, this is the Star Trek generation, Art. We have been raised on going where no one has gone before, and I frankly think it's high time that we all grew up and we went ahead and made known what a few have known and have seen while the rest of us wondered.
Richard, maybe we're ready, but what about the rest of the world?
So he's basically trying to shame the other governments into releasing their top secret alien civilization on the moon footage.
Yeah, they're ready for it. We're ready for it. We were raised on Star
We're
Trek.
never going to get to Star Trek if you people don't show us your Moon City footage.
Not alone. In other words, we've come a long way. You're right with the Star Trek generation, but I'm not sure they are in Argentina or
in this case,
in Britain.
other governments being Japan, I suppose, who's the only other
I
country.
suppose so. That's right. Yeah.
We can't expect the Russians.
Yeah, because no one's even. They're not. Yeah, that's right. They're not even entertaining that maybe Russia might give us their footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, TC, for the super chat.
Wow. Go ahead and read her up there.
Speaking of antiquated video formats, I recently picked up a CED of Raiders of the Lost Ark that was promoting the release of Temple of Doom from 1984. Yikes.
This is one of the best parts if you actually go back and watch like physical DVDs and VHS tapes from like the 80s and 90s and like the ads for the movies and things coming, because they would always throw them on there.
Of course they would. Yeah.
Releases. Yeah. Coming soon. And then at the start of everything you watch, the FBI would threaten you.
It's true. It's true. That's right.
I don't even live in the States. What the fuck are you going to do?
But also, sometimes they would be the ones that they would want you to. They'd also want you to be your own narc, right? There was some of them that were promoting, like, if you're watching this.
Yeah.
No, there was no. Sorry, there was a message. If you are watching a movie and you don't see that warning, that you're supposed to like turn the people in.
Turn the people in, yeah.
Like the way to not get charged if you're bootlegging videos is, I also included the FBI warning, so I'm safe.
There was this store we used to go to in Calgary. It's like in the 90s. It was in Chinatown, and they would just have like ridiculous bootlegs. Like clearly, it was like The Mummy with like just like a paper handwritten cover.
Okay,
like
yeah.
Brendan Fraser's name is misspelled. I always remember the owner, but this was all in the back. Like they wouldn't. So at the front, they have like movies from Hong Kong. They're also probably because I love the Hong Kong action movies.
Sure.
But nobody in North America knows anything about these companies, so you're not going to know if it's bootleg or legal, whatever. And this old guy who ran it would always be like, "Oh, you like American movie?" And if he said yes, he would take you into the back room where there was like $2 Paul DVDs of like all of the modern releases. Oh my goodness. None of these had FBI warnings at the start. Half of them were like hand cam things. It was good time.
The first time I went to New York, I was 19, maybe. And I was unaware of bootleg, like that bootleg stuff was sold on the street. And me, the moron.
Yeah.
There was literally they had movies that like, and I remember them specifically Disney movies. It was things like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and a few of those that hadn't, like they were, or no, there was some certain ones that, remember back when you had the Disney Vault, right? Where there was like certain movies that they put in the vault and you couldn't
just
get.
Walk away for,
And I'm like, how do you have these movies that are in the Disney Vault? And I was like being the biggest tourist moron. How did you get this? How? What? Can you believe? And now they at least had, VHS package. You could like stick a printed piece of paper into the plastic molding, and it looked quasi-professional enough.
Right.
And they had at least done that. They had gone to some scan anyway. But I was and I got home, and it's clearly like, oh no, this is like. Literally, someone's just recorded this. This is an 8th generation bootleg of something.
Somebody has 2 VCRs in their living room, and they just.
But it still brings shame to my life that I was the weird Canadian kid on the street.
Yeah, and then
how do you have copies of this? That's so cheap. Yeah, I was naive moron.
I've also never been to New York, Shannon. I think both of us have been let down by somebody. Not going to say who. They might be in this chat right now. But
you mean Mark Fernkoff?
I mean Mark Fernkoff, who's never taken
you to New York.
Shannon to New York City. I didn't want to call it a brain cramp like that. Mark's gonna have to take the hint.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to plan. Maybe that'll be our excursion next year. Who knows?
Who knows?
topic for
Although
another
is Richard ever going to give us evidence of what he's just right now? He's just telling us how.
I mean, to be fair, we've let him talk for about 5 minutes.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Australia or in Japan or in a lot.
This is a 2.5 hour episode and we're 15 minutes in. So, okay.
Mark Fernkoff says, wait, what? Is he getting dragged into this? That's a good question. Yeah. What did
Mark,
I do?
you cannot deny this. You have never taken Shannon or Dave to New York.
I mean, the facts are irrefutable.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Of other places. What about the rest of the world?
Well, look, we live on this planet from the 50s to a couple years ago where children in every culture, every race, every creed, every color, every country went to bed at night, and if they had access to any kind of media, at some level as they went to bed, they thought, maybe I won't wake up in the morning because there'll be a nuclear holocaust.
That's true.
A global nuclear war.
That's right.
And this planet survived that sanity. Nothing else could possibly compare to suicide by our own hand, the idiocy of the military and industrial complex run amok. I think that this is where leadership has to assert itself. The positive benefits, culturally, scientifically, technically, and economically, of pursuing this high frontier now, of verifying what's there,
I feel like, and I'm new to this phrase, so forgive me if I'm using it wrong, but I feel like the correct phrase is bless his heart.
I don't think you're using it quite right in the way that I think you mean it.
This guy, he thinks that if humanity discovered ancient moon cities, that they would all be like, well, let's set aside our differences now.
I guess it could be oh, bless his heart.
Like, that's what I mean. Like,
that is a way of using that. Yeah.
This guy is naive in a way that art knows better.
Yeah. Oh,
exploring what's there, of returning the extraordinary knowledge of what's there. When we get into the details of what is there, you'll see why we desperately need this knowledge back on Earth to help us save the Earth.
What makes you think they don't already have it? What makes you think they have not already explored it? If they've done all this, the rest of this stuff in secret, why would you imagine they'd have as much knowledge as you may have and it would not have acted on it?
But it has not been applied. And it's the application to society as a whole, the Baconian tradition of science art, where we have fallen woefully short. Remember the
The what tradition of science?
Did you say draconian?
I guess, which would make sense in his sense. Yes.
I'm gonna have you read this super chat. I'm gonna reset because we got the clicking again. So
we got the clicking again. Northern Spike, who is being generous as always, this chat, another $100 for the coffee table or Dropout or that one book or a New York City trip. I think Northern Spike's essentially trying to tell you, Paul, you take that money and you do what you think's best with it, or spend it on one of those 4 specific things.
For the coffee table or Dropout or that one book.
Oh, you're
okay.
Super loud. Yeah.
Oh, I got loud? Oh, because I'm leaning into the mic. Sorry, because I'm.
Well, I guess that makes sense. Yes. So he wants you to either get a coffee table. I guess I say
Okay.
he. I apologize. I have no idea what Northern Spike's pronouns are. For the coffee table, or a Dropout subscription, or a copy of A Practical Guide to Racism, or a New York City trip.
I see. Well,
I know which of those is the thing that Paul would like the most.
Yeah, I do too. All right. Thank you so much.
That would actually be really fun. You and me for like 4 days. I guess Shannon can come too, whatever. Hang out. You can show me around, show me the sights.
I miss New York. It's been probably, it's been a decade probably since I've been, which is too long. Yeah, let's fix this. Let's get it going.
And then TC, $5.
Oh.
Says Southerner can confirm that's a valid use of bless his heart.
Perfect.
See, I'm used to it from the Catholic sense, where God bless or bless his heart is essentially the polite way of saying fuck you. It's kind of
like, no,
oh bless your heart. Yeah.
No,
You
so
wouldn't
I've
say that to
learned.
somebody like, oh, he's just dumb. You're just like,
No, I've
like
learned
someone,
that this is
yeah.
it's a pity. Bless his heart is a
It can be
uh
pity. Oh, okay. So I cover the thing where it'd be like somebody like cuts in front of you in line, and you're just like, oh, bless your heart.
oh, see, I'm not familiar with that version of it. Okay.
That's the Catholic version. That's the
Mm,
where it's I bless or God bless. Yeah, I guess not bless your heart. That's more like oh bless or God bless. That's
yeah.
the like I said, it's the Catholic version of
Oh
fuck
yeah,
you.
no, God bless on its own
Yeah,
is
yeah.
more like
Oh,
is more of
oh
a
God.
it's more
Yeah,
of a good afternoon.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I can see that. Bless his heart, just being with the look of infinite pity in your
Yeah.
eyes, just like
It's yeah, exactly.
bless his heart. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Every country went to bed at night, and if they had access to any kind of media, at some level, as they went to bed, they thought, maybe I won't wake up in the morning because there'll be a nuclear holocaust.
That's true.
A global nuclear war.
That's right.
And this planet survived that sanity. Nothing else could possibly compare to suicide by our own hand and the idiocy of the military and industrial complex run amok. I think that this is where leadership has to assert itself. The positive benefits, culturally, scientifically, technically, and economically, of pursuing this high frontier now, of verifying what's there, of exploring what's there, of returning the extraordinary knowledge of what's there. When we get into the details of what is there, you'll see why we desperately need this knowledge back on Earth to help us save the Earth.
What makes you think they don't already have it? What makes you think they have not already explored it? If they've done all this, the rest of this stuff in secret, why would you imagine they'd have as much knowledge as you may have and would not have acted on it?
But it has not been applied. And it's the application to society as a whole, the Baconian tradition of science art, where we have fallen woefully short. Remember the mandate of NASA. NASA's charter was to explore space and to create the technologies and the knowledge base to apply that wisdom and knowledge for the benefit of all mankind. There has been a woeful gap between that vision and what in fact is taken.
For all mankind. Do you watch that show?
I do.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
I haven't seen the newest season yet.
I haven't yet either.
Carrie, what were you gonna say? Forget about that.
What I was gonna say, to me, this is always like the same with like the people who really go on about Atlantis or some of the things where it'd be like, oh, if we only had the wizards, like maybe it's just fucking stone buildings or whatever. Like,
yeah, right.
look at Stonehenge or the pyramids and be like, oh, this is really impressive that people built these things at this time in this place, but there's no earth-shattering revelations. There isn't the cure to cancer hidden in here, or like this is how anti-gravity works, or anything like that. It's just a building,
Right.
Just a thing. Yeah,
Right. I also really liked Art's question. It was like, what makes you think they haven't already? Like, if they're literally covering up these moon cities,
yeah,
then yes, absolutely, they've taken efforts to.
If they
go
knew
visit
about them
already.
we very literally sent humans
Yeah.
to the moon.
Yeah.
They would have taken a, by the way,
Because-
when you're there, pop into this old alien mall, see if there's anything cool
That's right.
else. Yeah.
I believe now if NASA wanted to, maybe not today, but if NASA wanted to in the 90s do a moon mission that the public didn't know about, that would have been super easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I don't know if you say that, but it's because a moon, it's not so easy as like launching something, a satellite. The like the size of the rocket and the effort, like what you need to get something of any kind of volume to the moon. It's a big rocket. But you can launch from.
No, but in the 90s, so before the Challenger, no, that would have been after the Challenger. Because there was a while there where they were doing space shuttle launches so frequently.
Yes.
That the public just stopped caring.
And not even space shuttle. Well, you wouldn't use a space shuttle for that, but and satellite launches and things.
And there's satellite launches now, like
right?
Don't do it at Cape Canaveral, do it just out of somewhere else. Yeah,
Elon Musk is launching Starlink satellites
right.
Left,
And
center,
we don't
right?
and that's not on the news. Like no one's
Yeah.
Michael, I don't have a clue what you're talking about, and it sounds like perhaps you are stuck in the Matrix.
No, he's right. When you reset
the audio,
I was
teasing.
Oh, I get it. You're making a joke, and I blew it. I fucked it up.
Well, it wasn't to be fair, it wasn't a very good joke.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I appreciate you you have the fake outrage. I do appreciate
Isn't that deja vu?
the deja vu. Mark Frinkov for $5, and never been to New York. I will happily host Shannon, Paul, and Dave in Des Moines, Iowa. Well, okay. I wouldn't recommend it. Iowa sucks. Or does this mean I invited to New York to hang out? Well, if you're paying, we can hang out in New York. But no pressure, Mark. I was using you as a scapegoat to distract, as Bill Clinton might have, from my own responsibilities and foibles. I see the trivia clock time,
Yes.
but
Isn't this deja vu?
that's right. It is deja vu. The
Yes,
last
trivia time is
I was just trying to think. The
your
last
turn.
time I went to Iowa, I also decided Iowa was so boring. I went to
Iowa?
Kentucky. I went to Kentucky to visit the Creation Museum. So yeah, that's how that went. That's how that went. Trivia time.
one more creation museum than I've seen. Whose turn is it to read a question? What question is this?
What? Whose baby is that? I'll buy that for $1.
I read that one.
You read the last one?
I read the last one.
Okay, so it's me.
Yeah. You're still 2 up on me.
Well, that's
You fine, foxy man.
I feel like the pie thing was I was just like, well, what? How could you? An alien wouldn't know like what our speed like per miles.
No, well, I did the coordinates of the pyramid.
Oh, you did the pyramid. That one was reasonable. All right. In Hoagland's view, what is the significance of certain glass domes on the moon? Oh, this may not be. We may have heard too much. 1, they are remnants of ancient lunar cities. 2, they are optical illusions caused by lunar dust. 3, they are natural formations unique to lunar geology. And 4, they are experimental habitats built by NASA. This may have been an excellent question to start the trivia. This may not be I don't know.
Oh, he hasn't referenced this specifically yet.
I mean, we don't know. He
we don't know.
4 is plausible, I feel like.
And I mean, at the pace we're going, we never will know.
But this would have been a good one to kick it off, but I didn't get to preview.
No, because that would have been cheating.
That would have been cheating.
We're not cheaters, Paul.
We are not. So it's a weird game thing. So like in my house, we never actually worried about cheating because the people who me and my kids, we were always like, well, that's just letting yourself down if you're cheating at the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of on you. It's like, oh, if you're gonna cheat to win, I guess go ahead.
This is just a so here's I remember you've played Munchkin before, I know.
Many times, yes, thanks to you actually, but yes.
We're playing, I think it was the Old West Munchkin, The Good, the Bad, and the Munchkin.
Yep.
And so me and my sister and my brother-in-law, her husband, and his friend, we were playing together. None of them had ever played it before. I just brought it and we were playing this game and having fun in this entirely fun and rocking game. And unspoken, no word, nothing. My brother-in-law, my sister's husband was kicking her ass. He had like 8 points and everyone else had like 4.
Yep.
And my sister and I were passing each other cards under the table without never even a second of like, what should we do? Like I just kind of like motioned and she just grabbed it and like handed me stuff back. And we were just absolutely fucking cheating. Like there's no, I'm like, A, I feel this is in the spirit of Munchkin. B,
it is in the spirit. It absolutely is in the spirit of Munchkin. Yep.
But I was also like, maybe that just is something about my family, and maybe there's something wrong with us.
Maybe.
Yeah. We're just this instantly, nobody even has to say it. There's no thing, just I'm doing this, and we all think this is a good idea. Yeah.
The teen who lives in this house, adore him. We've played Munchkin here many times, and his strategy is often he will actually make alliance. He will absolutely make alliances before the game even starts.
There you go.
and then but then plays it like what are you talking about? There's no alliance going on. And is masterful at pulling this off. He is it's very different way to play, and I adore it. It's
We used to play a lot of you and I used to play a lot of Risk. But I used to play a lot of Risk in Bible school with my good friend David, who you also know. And we just had an unspoken understanding that we didn't know who was going to win, but he and I were going to be the final two.
Oh, okay.
Like we just knew going in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like that's the way it's going to be. All of these other suckers, no, it's yeah. And then after it's only us two, well then, chips are down. Whatever happens, happens. But
what I remember of you as a Risk player, and frankly, any game, and I feel like this is fair. Any board game, you would play with your full heart, with your full intentionality for 30 to 40 minutes.
It depends.
And then at that point, you decided, do I have a chance to win? And if not, your whole demeanor and strategy just shifts to chaos.
Then you make up your own game that you can win.
That's right. Yeah, you picked up some kind of secret mission that you have.
So now my new goal is just to make sure that Paul doesn't win.
Yeah. So for example,
or turns out I'm going to be the person holding Urk Tusk at the end of the game.
Yeah. You've made your own secret mission that none of us are privy to.
Yeah. I'm playing like hell to win this.
That's game. Right. And the rest of us are trying to predict your actions based on you trying to win the game, but you've abandoned that.
Yeah. Oh, that? You still playing that game? No, that's over.
No. Yeah. I'm taking the Congo as a penalty, as they say. All right.
Anyways.
Play. So maybe the science has been done by somebody, but it has not been applied to the benefits of society on this planet, and that's what has to happen now. We have to reinvent the Earth using this knowledge which someone has been sitting on for over 30 years.
What if the answer, though, Richard, is so awful, something that would, for example, deny or the existence of God, or cause people to believe that what they've always thought, their deepest faiths, are shattered? I have to tell you, Richard, if I were a government guy and I had that information, I'd sit long and hard before I released it.
Well, we've sat long and hard. Isn't a generation enough?
Is the information do you think it may be that shattering?
I think it could be that important. I mean, we're living on borrowed time.
This guy's very, he's like an impetuous child with this data. Art is a reasonable thing. Is like, should the governments not weigh, will this completely undermine the foundations of our society?
Yeah.
And he's like, we've waited long enough.
Incontrovertible evidence that we are in fact living in some kind of simulation or something like that, right? That this is, the wackiest sort of thing. Everything you do is futile. Nothing matters.
Yeah.
Do we want to put that out in the whole public for the world? Probably not. Probably we want to we don't want people driving their cars off.
Well, and actually, philosophically, let's say you are a world leader and you have this information.
Yeah.
Do you try to hide it forever? Or do you try to basically acclimatize people so that eventually the information isn't going to be as devastating?
I mean, I would feel like the second option is the thing to do, because it's in taking long term. This is going to, it feels like, eventually the truth will come out.
Right. Like no secret is kept forever, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like the response, I wouldn't even be mad to find out that my government was attempting to soften us for some harsh information. If it wasn't like urgently needed for my, day-to-day survival.
Now, if it's a thing where it's like, well, it turns out, 0 point energy is a thing, and for $15 I can make a machine that generates a terawatt of electricity forever for free, but we're keeping that under wraps because
that would be that would be if you're protecting if you're doing it to protect corporate interests, then I'm going to be pissed. 0 point energy, I'm not aware of. I'm
a
not
thing.
aware of all world religions, but I don't know that any are based on the fact that 0 point energy doesn't exist. I don't know that
No,
that's a
the,
in the creed.
that's a purely corporate.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Um which is why, and my more controversial take is, yeah, like this, some of the potential bills that are going around AI, for example, um,
Right.
in terms of being able to protect jobs from loss from AI specifically. I
Right.
feel like those bills are just largely corporate, like they're actually more corporate fed as opposed to benevolent about keeping jobs, because technology's overturned specific jobs all the time.
Yes.
There are far fewer travel agents now than there were when I was a kid.
Yeah. Or farm workers, or
Or
like
farm
there's
work, like
been
there's
different.
just, technology of course does do things. So when I see, well, let's protect this, that always feels like who lined your pocket for that, as opposed to benevolence. But
Mhm.
I guess I'm one of those cynics that Richard doesn't know exist.
If you look around the planet, you can see that
Yeah, it does seem to
environmentally,
be a universal um theme point, whatever. The people like Richard Hoagland or Zachariah Stitchin or the various Atlantis people or the whatever, the Planet 12 or thing. It's like, but there's also somewhere, like, there's great truths in universe, hidden there. And it's like, this isn't just, old buildings that
Right, right,
are
right, right, right.
right. Like,
So yeah, they raise a good point. So like, let's just
it'd be like
entertain
if we
from.
found, for example, let's say just this year, for the very first time, we discovered Machu Picchu, or like pick whatever ancient
Yeah,
ruin.
yeah.
You're like, oh my goodness, like here's this, and it turns out there was a much more advanced civilization here than we'd ever thought, or even now. So here's a true thing. So now with various radar detections, we're finding all kinds of cities in the Amazon rainforest that nobody knew was there because the population got wiped out by smallpox or whatever, probably, and the jungle just grew over it, and nobody ever knew. And now all of a sudden, with modern methods and flower, it's like, well, you can see, oh no, there's like big foundations, and there's a large city of thousands, tens of thousands even lived here at one point, and we can see it. And that's very significant and but it's like, but nobody's thinking, well, if we go to that place in the Amazon and dig this up and go, the cure for cancer is going to be here, or
Right. Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
just,
Yeah.
this is just, we'll learn something about, maybe hopefully, the people in the region and what kind of there, but there's no great universal truths that are going to be peeled back. There's no true understanding of the universe. This is just an old building that was here, and the people who
Right.
built it are all dead, and moving on.
Um, like, similarly, I know it's before my lifetime, but it was still being sort of published and discovered and worked through in my lifetime, was like the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was, anyway, but people didn't start studying those in earnest till decades later. So, but it was always that expectation. Yes, like, what? We're gonna definitely learn some
Yeah,
absolute secret thing that
yeah,
is,
amazing truths and new revelations. It's like,
yeah.
well, turns out
I mean,
there are very interesting things, and there's a lot of insights. I don't think
yeah,
Kip's been here, but he would
we
have,
we learned a hell of a lot about the first century, but
yeah. It was like
or
when they
actually
found, or
before,
Pompeii, and
but
how
yeah,
preserved it was, and there's all the graffiti and things, and you can
yeah,
find people frozen essentially, and like, you can learn a lot of stuff about the day-to-day life of an average Roman city from what we have found essentially frozen in situ in Pompeii, and they are still digging it up even to this day and finding it. But none of that's like really in any way impacting anything that we're doing. It turns out internal combustion engines are still kind of better than anything we had going on then. So we're gonna keep going with what we got. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Roman.
So, Mark Fernkoff, another super
Mhm.
chat. Thank you, Mark. We want Ron Wyatt episode of Toast to Toast AM if exists. I don't know if I've looked that up. It seems he
I don't know
seems
who
like the
Ron
kind of
Wyatt
person.
is.
So let me tell you a little bit
Yep.
about the resume of Ron Wyatt. Dave?
Tell me a little bit about the resume of Ron Wyatt.
Ron Wyatt has made half dozen of the most important archaeological finds in our history.
Oh my
He found,
goodness.
for example,
Tell
he
me, was it the
found
Ark? Did he find the Ark?
he found the Ark. He found both
Ah.
Ark. He found both Arks, Dave. He found Noah's Ark
Mm-hmm.
and the Ark of the Covenant.
Mm-hmm.
He also found this chariot wheels on the bottom of the Dead Sea.
Ooh. Okay.
He found the cross of Jesus.
Oh, right. Because the Egyptians. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Very well.
His list is he's got like half a dozen of like each of them, each on their own, if true, would be like career making.
Ah.
Anyway, but God selected him to find all these many artifacts.
I'm looking. So sadly, it does not look like Ron Wyatt
Mm.
ever was on. So there's this guy, Richard Rives, who is essentially like a disciple of Ron Wyatt, who has been on with George Norrie a number of times, but the man himself doesn't look like was ever a guest on Coast to
Too bad.
Coast AM.
Vishanti corrects
Sorry,
me. Red Sea, not Dead Sea.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So we're just gonna digress now because we're in digression mode. So
Because it's that time of night. Yeah.
so I a couple weeks ago, since our last show, I have been involved. I've been getting more and more involved with the Bart Ehrman structure over there at his company, and anyway, I I was asked to help do a recording, doing a retrospective on a debate, which is neither here nor there, but it's some bonus content that can be purchased at his site that I just helped facilitate. No big deal, whatever. But it was a rare chance for me to actually chat with Bart, before and afterwards. So I said, so Bart, just for fun, I do this show where we talk about Coast
Crazy.
to Coast AM because I know that he's been a guest on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping, and it was actually still recording. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, I finally have a chance to get like some insight as to what it was like to be on the show. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I remember that show. I was on. I don't know how many times I was on. He's like, it was on super late. And I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, it was. What else do you remember? No. I just remember that it was on really late, and I had to stay up late, and it was like really late. It's like, do you remember? Like, Art, like, Bart? Do you remember which host? Like, was it Art Bell? Was it George Ray? I don't know. It was really late. It's like, yeah, okay, all right. So this is not usable footage. I was hoping to have this big thing that I could bring onto the show.
His story checks out. It was super late.
And it was. So, that's all you remember was this.
That's all you remember.
Like, do you remember what you talked about? No, it was on late. All right.
I was on Letterman. I was super late.
That's your anecdote. Although Bart Ehrman had also been on the Colbert Show twice, and I have chatted with him off air about his experience on the Colbert Show, and he remembers that very vividly. So I guess but I guess that was earlier in the day that they did the recording. Anyway, I hope to have this special footage to bring all of you today of a guest, and it was not worth it. Sadly. I mean, I could still bring it on to back up my story, I guess, but
terrible.
Yeah, terrible. Okay, but no Ron Wyatt. I guess that's what we've learned. Oh, also, you have this week undertaken an archiving project of sorts.
I've completed it now.
Oh, have you completed it? Excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, we now have a broader library to select from than we used to. So
much turns out.
I'm looking forward to discussing with you how to make that available for me as well, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, we might have to
invest in a NAS, or I don't know what we'll have to do. So
yeah, which is something I'm actually planning to do. I'll talk to you about it either. I have a media server that I'm planning to get up and going for all kinds of things. But anyways.
Oh, I'm apparently at the point in my evening where I can't get Red Sea and Dead Sea straight. So maybe discussing the technical aspects of a NAS is
Whatever. They're basically the same thing, right?
not same thing. Poor
Same
Claire
thing.
writes for $5. What would you
Mm.
do if Shannon got a coffee table without permission? What if she stopped doing wifely duties until you bought her one? So hold on.
There's a lot to unpack in
There's
this,
a
Paul.
lot to unpack
Lot.
here. I'm going to start with the
Shannon, I don't think it's in chat anymore, which is too bad. Because...
so I mean, first,
uh-huh.
nothing, because it is our house,
Yeah.
and we don't actually specifically consult with each other for permission to
Well, but I
bring
mean,
some.
you don't consult with her. That makes sense. You're the man, but she would have to get your permission to buy a table or any kind of meaningful. I guess unless she saved up her allowance that you give her, over enough time to just buy the coffee table, and
I suppose.
yeah, or it was part of her dowry.
Yes. So, if Shannon brought a coffee table into the house, though, that would be, I would be disappointed. I would be disappointed. But she does not require permission to bring anything into the home.
Yeah, you would just be real fucking passive aggressive about
I will
it.
actually, probably would be. What if she stopped doing wifely duties? Yeah, so I don't know if you've met Shannon, but
I have no comments. I have nothing.
She she's not one for obligation, for taking on arbitrary obligation at someone else's behest, shall we say.
I don't think there's anything arbitrary.
But I
about
love
that.
I do love this question because it's designed, and not only designed, it's performing as designed to put me in a weird position. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Shannon's not here to laugh, so I have to
so
laugh.
yeah, so
hard.
hopefully Shannon never watches this show, but off we go.
I'm marking this on YouTube and I'm sending her the timestamp.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sonic Shroom writes, the names he has given so far, we, Japan, and Honda. Who is checking his claims? I'm hoping that. Well, we're not getting to the end of this one, but they do eventually take calls. But like, that's so late. I don't know if we are enjoying this one enough to have a part 2. We'll see how it goes.
I mean, I'm having a really good time, but I don't know how much.
But it's just because we're making our own fun, I think, together with the audience. The audience makes it fun.
I furiously Google day.
All right.
Technologically, we're living on borrowed time. There is everything from, the fossil fuel problem of greenhouse warming to, increasing numbers of toxins. The Superfund is woefully inadequate to handle the toxic waste problem. People are dying.
Again, so admittedly, by his own thing,
we just got 15 seconds in, Paul.
These moon civilizations don't appear to be currently occupied, by his own admission.
They're not doing great.
So these guys just sitting on the answer to global warming doesn't seem like a high percentage bet.
Paul, just get rid of all of your atmosphere.
What if you put a dome around the city?
What if you put a glass dome around the city? Yeah.
Of starvation because there's more mouths to feed every year, and the technological curve to feed them is not keeping pace. Things are going to get horrible anyway.
That's true.
We must do something different.
I agree with you, Richard.
That's the human condition.
All right, I want you to relax for a few minutes. I'm going to take care of some business, do news at the top of the hour, and we'll come back and talk about the detail of what's up there. Richard Hoagland, stand by.
Speaking of standing by.
That was actually a very perfect timing. The trivia time at exactly the commercial break.
Yep.
Very good. Let's start let's get the resume game going.
How does claiming running out of gas get him to buy you a car, Michael? That Seems like the opposite. Well, Kip, they're not bad, actually. Not bad. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn to read, right?
Your turn to read, yep. Yeah. And we have a 2 seconds, 1 second, and ish now.
Okay. Hoagland suggests that which planetary body has a hidden city beneath its surface as revealed by radio signals? Is it Venus? Is it Saturn? Is it Mercury? Or is it Jupiter?
Okay. Well,
I have a guess here.
I can narrow this down to 2, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like only 2 of these have a surface. So
Okay, so I'm going to
which
answer.
will it be?
You and I are very different.
Jupiter doesn't have a surface.
No, but it emits radio signals.
No, but beneath its surface? Okay.
So we were both wrong.
All right, fair enough.
I thought because Jupiter famously like actually emits radiation and radio signals. There's sort of energy comes out.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And actually, I don't mind
I'm
this.
like, well, you know, it could be maybe our question writer.
Right. I mean, it's a good. It's
sometime.
actually a good. It's a good equalizer because these are all plausible. I mean,
Yeah.
within the confine of the conceit, right, of the thing. All right. You and I are a little more invested in the trivia than we normally are.
Yeah. Anyway, you're kicking my ass tonight.
Woo! But do you understand? Like my logic there was only 2 of those have like just.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
Ronan's right. So that's a famous thing about Jupiter. It emits radio signals. So I was like, oh, well, I guess that's what he's going on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well,
You know what doesn't famously emit radio signals? Go ahead, guess.
Venus.
Guess, you smug fucker.
So here's the thing. I am only ahead because you know more than me.
Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous.
You are literally in that knows too much to be dangerous. Yeah, enough to be dangerous.
This is like, you remember that game Guitar Hero?
I do.
I used to play with our friend Shannon, who plays
Yep.
actual guitar,
Yes.
who would get endlessly
well.
frustrated, and I would
Mhm.
like do so much better because it's like she's like, this is nothing like guitar. It's not. I'm like, yeah,
That's right.
it's
Yeah,
the
these are
game.
4 buttons. I know how to push the 4 buttons.
I know how to push
Yeah.
4 buttons. I can do the things. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
Justice for Jupiter. That's right, Ronan.
All right, let's reset that trivia clock. What question was that? That was question
That
number.
was
That was 6.
yeah, I feel so. I think I've mathematically lost tonight.
Womp womp. You can't get a mug, a cup.
I don't want your stupid cup. It's dumb, and you're dumb.
It's
This game's
delicious.
stupid.
Right where you are, we'll get back to Richard Hoagland. This is some pretty good stuff.
Uh-oh. Some music slipped by in the edit process there. Uh-oh. I just have to make sure interrupt it a little.
Yeah.
Now we're pausing just for a minute so YouTube doesn't know.
Nothing going on here. Whoopsie. Talking over the music. It's fine. Nothing happening here.
No, they talking over the music they're good at. Like I've heard people
they can
who
figure
had their
that shit
videos,
out.
like people who will be doing videos at like a concert or whatever. And they will be like, but they'll just be adjacent to a concert, and like in the background you can kind of hear the music, or in a mall.
Right.
Like they definitely can get, but what you got to do, no more than 9 seconds of a song is the thing. That's a Paul fail.
Do it.
How long is this?
I have no idea. Also, I do not recognize this song. Maybe somebody in chat does.
I'm guessing it's not it doesn't feel like copyrighted music to me.
Yeah, maybe.
We
got a super chat from Ronan.
You know what? I'm gonna turn it way down, and then we're just gonna let that play.
I'm all for you, Ronan.
You're hearing Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell.
Okay, super chat.
Much more than just a talk show.
The Ronan
In
says,
the program, call toll free.
Justice.
Super Boys.
618-8255.
This is the new one. Now on, if you are hashtag
This is the
Jupiter Boys.
Radio Network.
I don't know.
Nearly 100 radio stations.
Oh.
Jupiter Boys for life. Me and Ronan. Anybody who wants to get on hashtag Jupiter Boys, you're on my team. Me and Ronan team. Ronan my team.
There's a lot of
Ronan's a Jupiter for me.
there's a lot of archives of various official and unofficial archives of the Art Bell shows.
Yes.
Enough that, and they of course they repeat the numbers constantly.
Yeah.
Do they have the same? I wonder if they still have the same numbers.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, because
The current number for Coast to Coast is the same.
yeah,
as
it was like I kind of hope they do, because otherwise, like if some poor old lady,
That's in like Pasadena or whatever.
Pasadena, just got the. Why is everyone calling me with your weird conspiracy theories? Yeah.
JC calls in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I
Angry.
saw you. They devil worshiping radio waves. What? I'm sorry.
JC is someone we should return to sometime. But for those of you who are aficionados of the Art Bell show, yeah, do let us know in the chats and in the comments and all that kind of thing. We'd love to. Ron Wyatt isn't an eligible receiver, but
yeah, throw it out there.
Yep.
Always.
Now we're
I mean, there's many multi-parters we can go down for sure. Like, for example, Richard was on many times. Father Guido Sarducci, who we had on the other night, that was
Guido Sarducci would be awesome if that was true. I really loved Guido Sarducci. He had a movie. Did you ever see it?
I never saw it. I didn't know he did a movie. That's amazing.
There's a movie. Yeah. Kip Davis is clearly just catching up with the show on Rewind.
Yeah, that's
responding to our bootleg movie chat.
going to light up the night, leave me, with what Richard Hoagland is saying, definitively, without question. He's found artificial artifacts on the moon. And we'll get back to Richard Hoagland and talk about that in just a moment, as I try to do when I have a guest. We cluster some of our business toward the beginning and end of an hour to open up the maximum centered time. So back to Richard Hoagland in just a moment. He has been a consultant for NASA. He is the author of The Monuments of Mars. He heads an organization that he's getting ready to change the name of.
He's not a current NASA consultant, and that does not surprise me, perhaps.
Yeah.
At some point, NASA said, you know what? We're going to stop calling you.
Yeah. Well, thanks. We're good. Yeah.
Because the mission is broad, and his name is Richard Hoagland. He says there are undeniably, obviously, artificial objects on the moon. Richard, are you there?
I am here.
Good. Let's get into a little bit of detail. Exactly what is it you found on the moon?
Well, we found a range of things. What led us to this site was extensions of our work on Mars. As you know, we have been looking at the monuments on Mars for about 10 years.
Yes.
And what we found is that these structures on Mars, and I'll remain with Mars for a moment, are not laid out at random. Part of our epistemology, part of how we know, or with a high level of confidence, strongly suggest, if you want to be really conservative, that there are structures on Mars is because they have a very precise and overwhelmingly repeating geometric pattern. They are not laid out at random. Mountains and, craters and other things have a random distribution. These things are as orderly, if you know what you're looking at in terms of geometry, as the streets of Albuquerque or Las Vegas or Los Angeles.
It requires, though, some different sort of geometry to come to these conclusions, doesn't it?
It requires Euclidean geometry, but it's different angles. Instead of right angles, we're dealing with
It doesn't matter. Sorry, Art. That was a dumb question.
Yeah.
You don't need a different kind of geometry to find patterns.
I mean, well, that's a very... Somebody who's not math, but he listens to a lot of conspiracy, like non-Euclidean, like different geometries. It's like, that's a cool phrase in literature. It doesn't actually, really mean anything in real math. Yeah.
Yeah.
multiples and submultiples of what we would call tetrahedral geometry, which is the geometry of a circle. What are called polyhedra, many-sided figures inscribed within a sphere. Plato was one of the first to make popular the so-called five Platonic solids, which are these regular, multiply edged figures you see put inside spheres, sometimes in museum exhibits, sometimes in textbooks. The simplest of those forms is the tetrahedron, which is a four-sided, four-cornered pyramid made out.
I don't see how that's simpler
Well, he's about to lay it out for you.
than three-sided. That certainly can't be simpler. Also, you can literally put the nice thing about a circle. I mean, you can a shape that has any number of sides can fit in a circle because you just make the circle bigger. Yeah,
That is actually true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brain cramp. Thank you for the $2. It has geometry, so it must have a geometrist.
I mean, that's, yeah.
Your logic checks out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Of a series of equilateral triangles. You could take a sheet of paper, you take a pen or a pencil, and a scissors, and a ruler, and you draw four equilateral triangles on the piece of paper. Now, an equilateral triangle is a triangle whose sides and angles are all equal. Remember, the angles in a triangle in two dimensions have to add up to 180 degrees.
Right.
So if you have a 60-degree angle, and a 60-degree angle, and a 60-degree angle, that satisfies the first criteria. That makes 180, and each edge will be exactly the same. Cut those out, take a piece of, you take a tube of glue, or you take some masking tape or Scotch tape, and you carefully glue them or tape them together into a pyramid. And you've got one on the bottom and three on the sides, and it's got four sides, four corners, and there is a tetrahedral.
Oh, yeah, I think you had a comment there.
No, I was just
Okay.
I was thinking of the go. It was like, yeah, three sides.
So he's suggesting a craft project that we need to undertake somehow, make our own pyramids at home.
I have one right here. There you go, tetrahedron.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like many of us have such things in our homes. So
people who play nerd games for nerds have metal D4s.
Sonic Shroom writes, I just looked up the We organization. They run schools now.
Oh, well, there you go.
If you get the children, you get the whole name. You get the society.
Yep, get children into your crazy Mars cult. Get them early.
I don't know if this is a comment on math or if it was describing the kind of rock. I have a rock. It's a math rock. You just showed us a math rock.
I did.
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of math rocks here.
It's a disturbingly non-orange one.
Well, that is incorrect, Paul, because if you look closely at the numbers.
I noticed the numbers were orange, but
yeah.
Yeah.
My orange, all of those are upstairs. I'm not going to go get them. Yeah.
Pyramid.
All right.
Put that in a sphere, and you're off and running.
Okay.
In two dimensions, not in three, but in two dimensions, an equilateral triangle is the symbol, is the stand-in for this tetrahedron. All right? What led us to the site on the moon, where we have found the structure, is an 18-mile diameter crater in whose interior is an almost perfect equilateral triangle art, which can be seen from the Earth with a telescope.
What would it appear to be? A triangle as in indentation?
It appears to be a dark equilateral triangle.
Can you tell whether it is an indentation or a protrusion?
Well, you can't tell from the Earth-based photographs. We've now acquired photographs taken by the Lick Observatory about 50, 60 years ago. And these were available from NASA. They were picked up by a colleague of mine at an archive in Hawaii, of all places. We tried to get some full moon photographs from Lick directly, and for some curious reason, we couldn't get any. I don't know whether it was because the people we were dealing with were kind of dumb, or they're not available, or I don't understand why, but we finally had to track down full moon pictures through a NASA archive out in Hawaii. And when you scan them and put them up on the computer and enlarge them, lo and behold, this crater called Oort has this stunningly perfect equilateral triangle inscribed within it. It's the only crater on the moon that we've examined. We've now looked at thousands of them that has this. Now, what makes this pretty interesting is that this crater, at certain times, is the closest crater to Earth.
I'm looking at photos of this crater,
So is
right
the same
now,
one?
Paul, exactly what he's talking about, the crater and there is a triangle in the middle. To call this perfectly equilateral.
Am I looking at the same one, or are we different?
No, that's not the one I'm looking at.
What? So spell the one you have.
UKERT. Maybe it is. The picture I'm looking at looks different than that, though.
Yeah, it was the same one, but no worries.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. So like there definitely is like a sort of triangle-y shape in the middle of it. Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so
this is not at all what I thought. Okay.
It's like, okay. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a triangle-ish
Yeah, okay.
shape kind of in the middle. To call that any kind of geometric precision is
Right. Yeah.
perhaps a generous interpretation.
Famously,
But you know what, Paul?
Mhm.
I'm not getting the full NASA 3D.
It's true.
flyby
Where's the drone flyover?
Yeah, you're never going to see it because they don't want you to know.
Exactly. Famously, nothing in nature has three sides. So
Yeah,
that's how you know.
that's how you know.
On the moon. It is in the center of the lunar disk. It's right smack dab center of the visible side of the moon, facing the Earth as the moon orbits around the Earth in about a month. It's the place where, if you were putting something for intelligence on Earth to see when it developed telescope art,
That's where you'd put it?
that's where you'd put it. So, of course, this is kind of interesting. Now, when we did the computer processing, what you can do in the computer is you can measure very carefully light values. If you've been looking at your GIF images,
Yes.
you know you can call up what's called a histogram.
Yes, absolutely.
And you can actually measure on a scale of 1 to 56,
Right.
grayscale.
A histogram, that's what the ladies get.
That's how they measure how much you know about the Middle Ages.
Although I do know what he's talking about. He's talking about the various
Histograms. Yeah.
The-
You and I both have used enough Photoshop. to know
Absolutely.
what he's talking about. Yeah.
That's correct.
The bright and dark
That's not
pixels.
funny.
Right.
No. 94. So Photoshop, John Knoll, I think, released the first version of Photoshop in 95. So this was actually slightly pre.
Yeah. Well, but he didn't.
No.
Yeah.
No. 85.
Is that when
Right?
the first version of Photoshop came out? Yeah, Photoshop, like 2 or 3 would have come out in.
Photoshop 1 came out in 87. So okay.
87.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So 85 was wrong. But anyway, doesn't matter.
This is why we're never going to have an
So-
actual mainstream talk show of any kind, because we go in the woods looking up first version of Photoshop.
I mean, but weirdly, like, there's no way to do this that isn't a name drop. But for 7 years, I literally hung out with John Knoll, who invented Photoshop.
I thought he was just a Naboo pilot.
Well, he's both.
Oh, wow.
But I still get this wrong. Still got it wrong.
Yeah, John Knoll will be very disappointed in you.
He will.
Paul,
Trivia time.
it's trivia time. I believe this is our second last question coming up, right?
And this is the appropriate. So one of my favorite words, and there's very few places I can use it. This is the penultimate question.
Yeah, and these count for triple points, right?
Sure. Let's say yes.
Yes, let's say yes.
Is it my turn to read? I guess it's my turn
It
to
is your
read.
turn to read. Odd questions. You read odd. Yeah.
Okay.
You're like the Star Trek movies. The bad ones are odd.
What does Hoagland believe about the asteroid belt in our solar system? This is a good question. It's the remnants of a destroyed planet with an advanced civilization. 2, it's primarily composed of debris from cometary impacts. That'd be reasonable. 3, it is gradually forming into a new planet. Maybe.
Okay.
4, it is a protective barrier against galactic threats.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Two contenders here, I feel like.
I'm going to go with...
I know what I'm going with.
I'm locking in.
I've locked it in.
Oh, we went opposite. Okay, we went different.
I feel like with given my history today, I have a bad
I
feeling.
feel like we're both wrong. It's probably going to be weird. It's
going to be like gradually forming into a new planet.
You and I went to the pragmatic ones.
Yeah.
What do we got?
Lock.
Oh, you got it.
That's triple points. So we're
all right. It is the remnants of a destroyed planet. Really, he thinks why does it have to have an advanced civilization? Why can't it just be the remnants of a destroyed planet?
Paul, there's an asteroid that's almost entirely platinum.
There must be an episode that this gets explained in.
I mean, possibly he explains it in the hour and a half of.
It's true that we're not going to get to. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Justice for Jupiter.
Justice for Jupiter.
Jupiter boys.
So I need a brief break. Or do you want me to just hit play, or do you want to just riff?
Let's hit play so we can hopefully we'll let Richard get some good quality.
On the rim of the crater, we can look at the brightness of the rim in various parts. If you think of a crater as a circle, as a clock,
Right.
and you have the clock at, let's say, midnight with the hands directly up,
Right.
3 o'clock would be with the hands at right angles, 6 o'clock would be with the hands opposite, and so on and so forth. Think of a clock face, all right?
Okay.
The equilateral triangle in Occult is basically midnight to 4 to 7, and back midnight.
Huh.
That's the edges. It's straight up and down. Now, on the rim around the crater, there are 3 right sections, which are at 2, 10, and 6. So it forms another equilateral triangle if you connect the edges outside of the interior equilateral triangle.
Right. Precise one, yes.
Like a double inscribed equilateral triangle, which of course is the 2-dimensional equivalent of the double inscribed tetrahedron we have decoded through the monuments of Mars. If you looked at my UN tape 1,400 times, as some people in fact have.
Yes.
You see why we got intrigued?
Of course.
So, as Indiana Jones said in The Last Crusade, X does not mark the spot. It turns out to be an equilateral triangle. So we began pulling out of the files, or trying to pull out of the files through various sources and contacts, mission photography from the U.S. space program going back 30-plus years around this site, smack dab in the center of the moon. And there are 3 sets of missions that obviously we wanted to look at.
Right. How do you go about that, by the way? I mean, do you call up NASA and say, look, I'd like...
No. Not if you're heading the Mars mission, you don't. Because the first thing that I thought would happen is there would be a wholesale fire if they knew I was looking at negatives for a particular part of the moon. I don't want to sound a little paranoid, but, with the weirdness that has been documented by McDaniel and others now over the Mars data, I wanted to play this real cool. So the advantage of having a membership organization is you can have John Q. Public write very nice letters to the National Archives, which NASA has set up, and they can order photographs and negatives and things.
Like there was the picture you showed where it's like the triangle. He's like, and then there's like 3 points. Doesn't really explain what about these points on the outside of the crater. Where it's like there's the inverse triangle described.
Right.
One of the pictures that you looked at, I like where it's like he's like it's a double inscribed, equilateral triangle. It's basically like a Star of David-ish kind of a hexagram. I was expecting him to get into something about the Jews because every conspiracy.
Because of course he would.
Because ... the Jews. That's every conspiracy theory ever. It's there right in the middle of your screen.
This one?
Yeah, that's the one, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's some points. I'm not sure. I don't really see anything in those points that he's
no.
That would indicate.
I mean, if you want to arbitrarily draw a triangle, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, there's this. You can't see my cursor, but there's a little point. The westmost one has a bit
on one
of a
side
point.
I can see it.
Yeah,
but like certainly the southern one, the 6 o'clock.
Definitely not. Yeah, and the eastern one, no.
Massive, yeah. And the space Juden. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't put up the trivia clock.
No, put up trivia clock for the final countdown, Paul.
Final countdown. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Last goal wins.
Last goal wins. The famous, yes.
By 6 points in street
it's
hockey.
Every phys ed class I was ever in.
Last goal wins. Yeah. I haven't been keeping score, so yeah.
and they never know that it is going to the research until it is too late.
So you basically were hoping they were hiding this in plain sight.
The Purloined Letter.
Yeah.
We had some indication that, in fact, this is what was going on. And let me tell you one piece of evidence. I was able to get hold of a catalog from the Apollo 10 mission, published in 1971. Apollo 10 was the precursor to the lunar landing. It literally was...
You know how famously NASA, you could just order your own Apollo if you wanted.
Yeah. What is he
Just
talking about?
It's a bit of a catalog you could get.
Yeah.
We had at least one super chat while I was gone.
We have I believe just one. Yes.
Okay. Now we have various sources and contacts to look up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We can start naming names.
A year ago, 25 years ago, a couple weeks ago.
Right.
May 25th, 1969 was the successful orbiting of Apollo 10. And of course, I vividly remember it because that was my, I was involved at CBS. I was science advisor to Walter Cronkite. Young kid at 23, the power of being advisor to the most powerful television network in the world.
Yes.
You can imagine how you felt at that time. Well, I felt that way. So I remember vividly where I was, what I was doing, what we were all doing during this mission. Little did I imagine, Art, that a quarter of a century later I'd be looking at photographs acquired by that mission and finding stunning stuff that A, proves that there's somebody else out there, and B, that our government has not leveled with us for a quarter of a century. I would never have imagined, ever, that I would be in that position, but that's where we are. So anyway, I got this catalog from one of our Mars mission members, and in going through it, I noticed something peculiar from Apollo 10. In these catalogs that have been published on every mission,
Dave used to have a job making catalogs.
I still do.
Oh, do you still do that? Okay.
I mean,
right.
I work for the same company. I
thought it was moved entirely online now, but
very much.
Oh, you still do the print catalog? Okay, fine.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Although every year it's a conversation about, is this still worthwhile? But there's still enough demand for it and go that people. The catalog we make every year is over 1,000 pages. It is a fairly epic undertaking. Yeah.
It's just people just look at that for the sexy pictures.
Kind of. You know what? There's times I still use it because I find for certain things, especially if you're comparing multiple, because we'll have like sections of like products, like it's a catalog, it's organized. So if I want to be like, I want to compare 3 or 4 brands or whatever, well, it's like, I just have to flip pages as opposed to having like multiple web pages and go like sometimes the paper catalog is in fact easier to look information up and compare when you can just kind of like.
Fair enough.
There's 20 things and I can just flip through pages and and oh yeah, here's the one that I want.
Right.
So,
but let's say you walked from one side of the shop to the other.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Sometimes you would have had to carry 1,000-page catalog with you if you wanted to be able to look it up everywhere you are. So
yes,
that's
especially when I first started in the automotive industry, which was just on like the early days of the web. People would have on your desk a giant rack, and I mean 5 feet across.
Like this is 1,000 pages. Like this is non-trivial.
Yeah,
to carry.
I don't have one of our catalogs here to show you, but you'd have like a rack on your desk that was like made for 3-wing or whatever ring, but it'd have like bars, and you would have multiple catalogs like on this rack on your desk that you could quickly, because that's pre-web.
Sure,
that's what you had, right? And if anything changed or went, it's like, well, I guess we'll throw the information out there when it's going on. I am not it's making an excuse for like catalogs. Yeah. Plus they've got sexy ladies in them.
That's what I mean. You could.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back now to Apollo 8. What NASA has done in consonance with the charter is to publish voluminous amounts of data. It's almost like one of those old Johnny Carson routines. Everything you ever wanted to know about an Apollo mission is contained within these covers.
Yes. And,
you've got data on the Zeiss lenses, you've got data on the film types, you have data on the electric rewind, on the transmission. I mean, everything any photographer would ever want to know is in these manuals.
So much information.
What?
So much information. information.
Oh,
no doubt.
you're drowning in data.
Yeah.
But this is good. Data's good. Also, in the back of the catalog, they provided, in postage stamp size, actual reproductions of every photograph taken during the mission. This is the stills. These were the Hasselblad stills.
Right.
The film cameras, the sequence cameras are not available because remember when this technology was used, we were limited.
I've never seen such a book, but that actually, like, putting yourself back in that time, that would have been an incredibly interesting book to have.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it probably still would be, honestly.
Yeah, and I kind of quasi believe that is probably a thing that NASA would put out. Like, not, you couldn't buy it at your local Barnes and Noble, but
No, but just kind of showing, hey, look at.
right, like that research libraries could buy. That
Yeah.
actually makes sense that probably such a thing did exist.
Mm-hmm.
To film. Now, of course, you could have video previews of what the film cameras recorded. You could simply order the video cassette of, X orbit and that kind of thing.
Right.
Anyway, in the back of this catalog, Apollo 10, published in 1971. Mission took place in 69. Catalog published in 71. I'm looking through.
Back in the summer of 69.
I
All
bought
right.
my very first 6-string.
I was hearing the clicking and I want to reset.
I heard it clicking too.
That's our next note for problem solving for next show. Why the clicking?
Why the clicking? Why sometimes the clicking?
Yeah.
Apollo 10, published in 1971. Mission took place in 69. Catalog published in 71. I'm looking through it, and I'm looking in the back at the reproduction of the photograph themselves, and I begin to notice something pretty weird. NASA's catalog process.
Do you suppose, and there's no way to know, do you suppose that the shows, there's definitely audio artifacts, right? Every Art Bell archive, some episodes are better than others, and we know that these were civilians, as it were, generally recording this off the radio, as opposed to these being officially recorded and put out in a lot of ways.
Probably someone recording it with a cassette tape.
Right.
Yes.
Some of that, I don't remember noise, but I, like, when I was watching it live, but I'm used to now much more crystal clear. Like, it's probably my standards are different. Like, there probably was like weird, and you forgive it because it's a call-in show, right? You're just, oh well, their call sucks or whatever.
And it was AM radio.
Then it was AM radio. So the tuning was imprecise, and I was often driving. So when you're driving, obviously you keep having to tune slightly differently as you get kilometers away from things.
Yep.
Part of me wonders how much is the artifact of the recording, and how much was was noise, like in the original show, even if you had perfect recording. That's a weird thing I think about that no one in the audience cares about. So let's stop talking about it.
There you go.
A photo reproduction is lousy. If you go from upper left to lower right, there's about a half a dozen pictures on each page. And you would have overexposed, blank, underexposed, okay, underexposed, blank, blank, overexposed, so-so, underexposed, blank, 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 overexposed. And I began to compare that mission with the previous catalog from Apollo 8, where, with the exception of a couple, 3 frames, every photograph was perfect. Then I got an Apollo 12 catalog, which contained the data from the rendezvous and landing near the Surveyor 3 spacecraft by Alan B.
I got a spoiler for you on the Apollo 13 photographs, though. Not going to be as good.
Not going to be as good. Yeah.
Oh, we have a super chat.
We do. Read it, then I got to go for a bio break.
Okay. Joe Hill writes,
yes.
How do you guys feel about the new Scarlett Johansson movie where the White House proposed to NASA to film the moon landing in case it failed? With so much disinformation out there, I'm worried. This is not a thing I was aware of. Are you aware of that? There's a.
I didn't know. So Joe Hill, we're going to disappoint you. Neither Paul or I have anything meaningful to say.
So hold on. So I thought maybe for a second he was talking about the new Civil War movie that is out in theaters today.
Yeah,
but that's a whole different thing.
Probably see. All right, you do this. I'm going to.
I'll look it up. You go. I'm gonna look up Scarlett Johansson moon movie. Is that gonna tell me what's happening? Oh, is it Fly Me? Hold on. You guys tell me in chat, is it Fly Me to the Moon? Is it this new one? Is this the new one? I guess so, 4 days ago. So Fly Me to the Moon, interesting. So I did not know. Joe Hill, thank you for alerting myself and everyone to this. I was distracted. So CinemaCon was this week. I know I'm still friends with a bunch of people in the film industry. And so CinemaCon is not open to the public. It is open to exhibitors, the people who own the movie theater chains. Anyway, but what happens is the news from it does come out. And so there's so many things. So there was reports of people saw 9 minutes of the Deadpool movie and talking about that. And there was news about apparently the people saw a bunch of the footage from the new Planet of the Apes film, from the new Captain America film, you name it, different stars, Moana 2, the Rock was the new Transformers film. There's going to be a live action R-rated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming up this next year. There Chris Hemsworth taking over as Optimus Prime. There's going to be a G.I. Joe versus Transformers film Paramount announced this week. So anyway, this has been a big week for movie stuff. That's all I'm saying. I got distracted by all those things I just listed. So I missed the Fly Me to the Moon trailer. So that's on me. Yep.
I also. So there you go. I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, did you follow the CinemaCon news? Did you follow CinemaCon this week at all?
I know.
Okay.
I knew it was going on and saw a couple little things,
Yeah.
but yeah. Did you watch Asteroid City?
Yes.
What'd you think?
It actually weirdly it almost felt like Wes Anderson was doing a parody of his own format.
In some ways, I thought it was a little too cute for its own good, or too clever. You know what? Yeah.
The play within a play within a play stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the performances were good. Scarlett Johansson was good in it.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I don't feel like if I was making a list of Wes Anderson films that you had to see, that would be in the top 6.
There was no
for sure.
emotional core for me, like no story I would glom on.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Even to the extent where it was like, your mom's dead subplot. I mean, that's not a spoiler. There's whatever. There's this whole subplot about a dad with his kids, which is supposed to be the emotional core of the film.
But then they don't really.
That said, the role. Why am I blanking on his name? From the actor who plays the. He's in Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum. Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
I've been drinking more than I thought I was. Jeff Goldblum's. I thought they used Jeff Goldblum very well in Asteroid City. That's yeah, without spoilers.
Now, if you haven't seen, for some reason, it just never really caught on. The French Connection. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot more.
Yeah.
Anyways,
you are a much bigger Wes Anderson fan than I am.
I am a huge Wes Anderson fan.
Yeah.
But there's a couple that I'm like, I don't know about that one. Yeah. And for me, it's Asteroid City and Isle of Dogs are his two that I'm like, I don't know. Yes, Grand Budapest Hotel.
That's the one I was going to list. Was that's definitely on the if you haven't seen Wes Anderson before.
That's usually the first. If I really like, we're going to watch this one, and I'll pull up my Blu-ray and we'll watch
right.
Grand Budapest. Yeah. Royal Tenenbaums is also.
Oh yeah, Royal Tenenbaums great. You actually turned me on to Wes Anderson, I think, first. Yeah.
We saw. Oh shit! What's the one on the island with the kids? We saw it at Comic-Con. We went to a movie
Not
theater
the
in
summer
San
camp
Diego.
one. The summer camp one?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that one? That one
Where the
was
kids
what
run
was that
away
one
from
called?
camp and go. I really like that one too. I own
Yeah, what was that one called? We saw that together in San Diego.
Yeah, in a really cool classic theater with like the everything about it. I was like, this is they don't make theaters.
Yeah,
like
that
this
was
anymore.
a
Yeah,
in the Gaslight District there, Gaslamp District,
Yeah.
not the Gaslight District.
not the Gaslight District. Anyways, we're
we digress because it is
Moonrise
trivia.
Kingdom. Moonrise Kingdom. is what
Moonrise
it is.
Kingdom.
Yes.
We are
Trivia
at
time.
trivia
This is it.
time.
This is it. Yep. Winner takes everything.
So
it's
last
Paul,
goal
in which
wins.
case, the last previous question was worth 12 points.
I missed the last one, right? Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I got right. The only one tonight that I got right and you got wrong. Okay, it's my turn to read.
9 seconds.
Oh, it's like freaking forever.
Mm-hmm. We're dead silence.
Joe
We're
Hill
not
super chat
following.
Moonrise Kingdom, which is right, but we already.
Well, that's too late.
Hoagland's theories often reference hyperdimensional physics. According to him, what does this imply about the universe? That the universe operates on more than 4 dimensions. It is steadily contracting into a single dimensional point. It is infinitely expanding without any cosmological constant, or it is a simulation run by an advanced civilization. Ooh. I mean, I have my guess.
I know. So one of these is very rational, and the others are more fun.
This is when string theory was like in its heyday.
I honestly, I could have gone any of these.
Well, you and I answered the same thing.
But you answered first, so you're
did.
good.
I might be wrong. Yeah.
Oh, that was the boring answer.
Yeah, this was the heyday of string theory before people started realizing that it's kind of bullshit.
I feel like what that does naturally follow from the hyperdimensional physics, though. So
yeah, yes.
All right. So now we will, in a few seconds, we'll let this tabulate and see who really won. You and I are not.
Who really won? Who tonight? Here we are.
You outsmarted yourself to not come in first.
It depends very much on the string theory, Lunar. It could be up into the multiple dozens.
Well, but 10 is like the common one, right? Like 10
dimensions.
11 dimensions.
The except, although again, as I said, string theory has very much fallen out of favor in physics.
Right, which is why on Big Bang Theory they literally had to take Sheldon's character off of it because it was like, he wouldn't keep following. Oh, look at me! I came in second.
You came in second, you jerk.
But Pega Jace, you beat me. You beat everybody.
Yeah, I'm not even on this list. Sit down.
You're in the sheeple. You're among the plus 49 sheeple.
Yeah. Oh, I guess there I am. I'm fourth down on.
You're 13th.
Yeah. I beat Vishanti.
who came late, but all right.
Shut up. Let me have this, Paul.
All right, you got it. It's you. It's all you.
It's all me.
So, Pega Jace, let me know at Paul. Send me an email at paul@paulogia.com.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know that is you and what address you might want your Tumblr sent to. And you will join the Tumblr club. Thank you for playing. Did you have fun, Dave, you and I doing head-to-head?
I did. I have an unhealthy competitive streak, as you're well aware.
Okay.
And
so I got you got 5 right. I got 7 right. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, so perhaps we will solicit if you if anyone friends out there, friends of the channel are interested in perhaps creating trivia for us at some point.
If we were doing any kind of pop culture trivia, I feel like Vishanti would be a good choice. If they're willing. This is always
This is, of course, yes, and there's no pay, just to be clear.
Yeah.
This is a volunteer position.
Possibly a Tumblr for Kip.
I mean, appreciation.
Let's see. Yes. Yeah.
But Did we see the Joe Hill super chat with the
Which
Moonrise
one?
Kingdom?
Moonrise Kingdom, yes. Well, I referenced it. Yeah,
I know, but I wasn't sure if you referenced it
we
from just
didn't
general lists or-
highlight it. We didn't bring it out there.
Okay, so Dave, we've been going for a while. You have a little bit left in you, or do you want to?
I've got a little bit left in me. Do you have a
All
little bit
right.
left in you?
Well, I got this much drink left, so I got to at
Yeah.
least finish that.
You got to finish that.
Okay. We're not going to be able to finish the show though. We're not going to be able to get the callers.
We usually do 8 or 10 is the usual go-to for trivia questions. Michael Mazzaros. Yeah.
You've often done 7.
Have I? Fair enough.
Oh, I shouldn't say often. You've sometimes done 7.
I've done the number drifts.
Yeah.
The number drifts. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, by Alan Bean in the Sea of Storms.
Yes,
In November of '69,
Yes.
second lunar landing mission.
I recall.
And there were 50-some, 60-some pictures reproduced in that catalog, and those were all perfect. And I began to say, this is kind of weird, because either we had a drastic fall-off in catalog production technology at NASA between 1969 and 1971.
This notion that he was able to acquire all these catalogs that had 60 or hundreds of photos, does that not disqualify what he was saying before us? Well, have you noticed that it's always the same 6 photos of the moon?
I mean, no, because you're not wrong, but I feel the point he was trying to make is that in popular, it's not that these photos don't exist. It's that they push, here's just the safe photos. These are the ones that you see in mass media.
But it's not like those are unavailable.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or we had a radical shortage of ink, particularly white ink, okay? Or maybe there's something more interesting, because the photographs that were blank.
I assume that was meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
White ink.
Of Kurt. Anyway, the bottom line is we can prove that someone has faked the data. Someone has altered the data. So if you were a geologist in Dubuque at the university and you were ordering from a NASA catalog photographs from the National Archive,
Yes.
would you pay hundreds of dollars for a blank frame?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, when you see the video, I will show you the blank frame. I will take you through the catalogs and show you side-by-side comparisons. And then I come up on the actual picture, which number is AS10-32-4822. Then I turn on the picture, and it's absolutely stunning. There's nothing wrong with it, except there are things on the picture that NASA never got around to telling us about.
Calling our attention to.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, the even more interesting thing is we began to go into this process in depth, and I began to order the same frames from Houston and from other archives.
Sure.
Guess what? Things change. There are several 4822s.
Oh my.
And some of them have things on them that others don't, and some of them have brilliant specular reflections caused by planar surfaces that are literally
So this was the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of my hobbies in my life has been collecting sports cards. I don't know if you recall in the 90s, but there was the explosion of all the different, there was lots of different card companies all of a sudden making.
Yes. People realized there was money in this.
There was money in this. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that also happened though was absolutely was in the 90s and it happened in comics, variation covers was huge in comics in the 90s. And these definitely in these sports cards. So like there was literally be like in the west of Canada, let's think of a 90s player. So the Mike Modano card, you know, looked one way in West Canada and another way in East Canada, and you had to like coordinate with your friend so that you could get both versions of the variation. You had the East to the West variation of the Mike Modano card.
Or there'd be like, limited releases or whatever, and the blah blah blah. There'd be like
but variations. So it'd be like, it's still card number 85 in the set, but it's a variation.
Yeah.
I feel like this may well have been just NASA trolling this guy. Look, this is guy who keeps ordering the same photo over and over again.
Yes.
What if? Okay, so he ordered it from that because he was just literally saying he ordered it from different offices and was getting different photos, right?
Yeah, we all know what happens when engineers get bored.
Look, if we keep sending him different pictures, he's going to keep ordering more of the same one. It feels like Feels like a thing that
Yeah.
they could have just been messing with him on this.
This guy just keeps ordering them.
He keeps ordering the same frame over and over again.
Paint your thumb green and put it in the edge of this one.
That's right. Weirdly, the other thing that was popular right around this time were those animation cells.
Right.
Do you remember?
Yes, yeah, you could
framed animation cells.
Yeah,
and that
like
was
the
always
Simpsons or Tom
they
and
even
Jerry.
joked about it on The Simpsons one time,
Yeah.
where because you'd order these. I want to get a random animation frame from the Flintstones or from
or classic Disney or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. But you never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah. And most animation cells are like
most animation cells are incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're not the hero shot.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't like a full picture of Steamboat Mickey.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. No, it's this is the cell where his hand moved slightly, so you're getting that.
Yeah.
All right. I think someone over at NASA was trolling him with all his various orderings of these things.
Can't rule it out.
Yeah.
Can't rule it out. And now there's a whole research project.
That's right, just ruined.
Yeah.
Square.
A mile square.
A mile square. Rough calculation. Have you ever flown past New York or Los Angeles at sunset or any major city?
Yes.
And you've seen the brilliant reflections of the skyscrapers and all those glass buildings now with parallel, windows that form mirrors at sunset at the right angle?
Absolutely.
L.A. Law had some beautiful aerials during some of the latter years of their series, where they had helicopter shots going between the skyscrapers in downtown L.A., and you get wondrous light reflection.
Correct.
We are seeing light reflections from the skyscrapers on the moon, Art.
You just called them skyscrapers.
Well, what would you call something that sticks several thousand feet tall and is rectangular and has windows and reflects the sunlight?
Excuse me, wait a minute. Windows?
Windows.
How do you discern windows?
By their geometric shape.
Richard, these are on the dark side?
No, these are on the front.
These are on the front of the moon.
Yes. See, we've been living, Art, with the illusion of openness. We have been conned. How much more plain? And remember, this has now been vetted by geologists, seen by 600 people, soon going to be seen by, a lot of people. I'm going to be going to Los Angeles this weekend and presenting the data at a UFO conference there. You know that I never do UFO conferences.
I know that, yes.
I'm doing this because this data has got to get out. And I'm going to be seeing some Hollywood people, producers, media types, and I'm just using the opportunity en route to another conference in Hawaii to show people in various parts of the country what their government has taken from them and not let them see for 30 years.
Richard, what about the networks? I mean, right now, what about the networks?
Which network?
Well, who cares? This is a gigantic story. CNN?
We're working on it.
ABC, CBS?
Yes. No.
So forth. Have you spoken to any of
Remember,
them?
the moon is not going away.
Moon is not going away. It's
Yes. So I could be talking to the major networks. But have you ever been to Baimon Sci-Fi Con? Because those guys, you got to get the word out.
Someday, Paul.
We'll get to, yes, nationally, sure. But meanwhile.
Oh, Aaron Colson. Good on you.
Aaron Colson.
He's got his bamboo.
I'm finally home after 27 hours of work. I work for an electrical utility. Very bad windstorms. I don't know if you guys can hear it. We're having a crazy windstorm right now, actually.
Yeah.
Out my window. I've got bamboo. Delicious. Blackened shrimp pasta, delicious. And toasted toast, also delicious.
Delicious.
What did I miss? What did he miss, Dave?
I mean, I could give you like a lot. You basically all the trivia contests, the amazing sponsorship ad, all of our witty and insightful banter.
So many delightful chats,
a very
super chats,
poignant life lesson or two. Kip showing up and talking about things that happened in chat an hour before because he's not watching the current live video.
A lot of two old men reminiscing about technology that doesn't exist anymore.
Laser discs and Betamax and VHS because we're old white dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's just a brief summary. The rest of the chat can let you know.
There was a time, chat, I was trying to convince Paul way before this to start a podcast with me called The Whitest Guys I Know. That was gonna be our podcast. I'm like, there are no people more white than Paul and I. We talk about like when composite got replaced by HDMI, All of these things we have strong opinions about. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyways, rain
Mhm.
crab. Yes, you're right. They're 7,000 feet tall now. Well, 600 witnesses is irrefutable proof. I mean, it's right there. Anybody with a telescope can see it. Apparently, it's right there on the moon. If you have a good telescope, you can go see these 7,000, 8,000, 20,000 feet tall buildings with their windows. How you know their
How can
windows?
you tell they're windows? Because
Geometric
of their shape.
windows?
What?
Windows. They're windows? There's windows. How do you know they're windows?
Yeah. Famously, in all the
Uh,
planet, there's only one thing the shape of rectangles, Dave,
mhm.
and that's
Windows.
windows.
Yep. And TIE fighter hangar base.
That would be
Be a
two
lot-
things.
Be a lot cooler if it was.
They can't be books. It can't be nothing else is rectangles, just
Dude,
windows.
that's a big book. That feels like that's an expensive book.
This is an expensive book. This cost me $130.
Oh,
I also bought the ebook for $60, so I spent $190 on this book.
I feel like you could have probably only bought one of those.
I could have.
Are you ever going to read that book again?
Yes, I've read it almost twice now.
Okay.
I have written. I've now been hired. This is a bit of a spoiler. I've actually been hired to write a review of this book
Ooh.
for
see.
actual money dollars. So
Well, then, I mean, can we trust your review? Are you compromised, Paul?
well, could you trust Siskel and Ebert? They were also
No.
paid for reviews.
Those fucking hacks.
Yeah.
We were seeing the clip of Siskel and Ebert on the Johnny Carson show, and Chevy Chase is there, like behind. So he was like obviously the earlier guest,
Okay.
like
Yeah. As they used to do. Yeah.
as they used to do. And Carson asks, like, "Are there any movies this holiday season that you really think audiences should avoid?" And I think it's Roger Ebert. He's like, "I really couldn't stand Three Amigos. I thought it was terrible."
Oh no.
And Chevy's just like, he's not saying anything, and Carson's like, "Oh wow, I wouldn't have asked the question if I knew that's what you were going to say." Like, it's just super awkward. Like, and then Cisco, he's kind of like, "Well, different people like different things," and they go, it's just, yeah.
I will say
Well,
when I saw Three
Three
Amigos
Amigos
when I saw Three Amigos the first time,
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it in the theater.
I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on TBS Super Channel.
Um,
But I've always
so I
loved
enjoyed it. So I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't like. It wasn't. When I left the theater, if you said, "Paul, are you ever going to think about this movie again?" I would have said no.
Yeah.
Like, but do I quote Three Amigos at least on a monthly basis? Absolutely, I do.
I mean, I've seen that movie probably 100 times.
Right? Yeah. So
I love Three Amigos.
So I actually kind of get, I can get why that movie maybe didn't get a great review.
Yeah, there you go. That's what will spike me up. Yeah. So you were just shitting all over this movie. Chevy Chase is literally sitting next to him, just kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, and he doesn't really like beak him or go, but it's just like, wow, this is awkward. Yeah.
So speaking of CinemaCon, so one of the things which we were doing 30 minutes ago, I don't remember when it was.
Yep. More than that.
So one of the films that has been announced that is in filming now is Liam Neeson is taking over the Leslie Nielsen role in Naked Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Liam Neeson actually can be very funny. He does have
Oh, for sure.
and at that exact
But
kind of
also
where
the
he played
Leslie Nielsen role is about being the straight man
yeah,
the entire time.
as increasingly ridiculous shit is happening, you
right,
just
and we
deadpan
like I
serious.
like feel like Liam Neeson and I've worked with him a little bit.
Yeah.
The person he's like, if there's a person who can be called on to not react to what's going on around him,
Yeah.
he absolutely is capable of doing that.
I mean,
anyway,
it's very much like, and he's played comedic roles where he does that, like,
Yeah.
Like the cop in Lego Movie or whatever, right? Where it's like,
Right,
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
you're the deadpan,
yeah.
straight faced, and he can. So I could see it. I can see that working, honestly, as much as I hate to see that movie be remade.
All this, no, they're not remaking anything.
You know what? But it's
They are. So I hope what they're doing is just acknowledging like that character would be retired now.
yeah.
So it's
I guess
more of a
whatever. Even
it's
if you
more
give
of
him the same name, but put it in a modern police story and kind of.
Yeah, I actually hope they give him a different name. I hope it's like a whatever, but it doesn't matter. But the thing was, there had been some discussion of that franchise was known for doing some very shock value things,
Mm-hmm.
and I had been involved with some people online discussing with like what's the most shocking thing that they could do and get away with, because you could get away with more things then.
You could back then, yes, absolutely.
And one discussion was, well, what if, because he was part of the original cast, what if you brought O.J. Simpson back to be to be a cameo in it?
Well, that ship sailed.
Anyway, so that, to me, actually, that was like a very that is like one of the most shocking things you absolutely could weirdly do.
But they wouldn't. They would never do it.
Anyway, but now that's off the table. That was just good news. As I said to Dave earlier, I noticed that Norm Macdonald was trending on Twitter.
Yes.
I'm like, why is Norm Macdonald trending on Twitter? I'm like, oh, O.J. Simpson's dead. Oh, okay. That's how I learned.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
My good friend Norm. He was not my friend. I never met him, but
would probably have amused Norm Macdonald to no end.
Exactly. All right. Keep plowing.
I have been very careful to prepare an airtight case. Think of Perry Mason. I get one shot here, and it's got to be airtight.
That's true.
Well, this is airtight. And I debuted it at Ohio State University. The reason
7 full carousels of slides.
I don't know if you are aware of this, but he received a standing ovation at Ohio State University.
He has not mentioned that low for another half hour. It's been half hour since he last mentioned.
Garrett fucking T is about to.
Mm-hmm.
Picked Ohio State is that the invitation came up, kind of at the right time. It's ironic that it's Ohio State because they have a radio astronomer named Frank Krause who was a rebel in his day and who built, with great opposition, a kind of amateur radio telescope, which was one of the first to be used for SETI, for the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Yes.
And it felt to me kind of appropriate to stand on the stage at Ohio State and debut, photographic evidence, incontrovertible evidence that there is something on the moon that's not belong, built by someone a long time ago, and this government did not tell the citizens who paid for the pictures and the trip.
I can't imagine that this government, having that information, would not, if necessary, conduct a secret trip to the moon and go and visit this edifice, whatever it is.
Well, that I presume as we move through this process. Remember, this is the beginning of the space program all over again.
Yes.
We'll find out. Let me tell you how we're going to find out. Within 48 hours of my address at Ohio State, I got a call from a very well-connected intelligence source. All right. Who has now told me two things that I need. This came in so recently that I have not been able to check it out. He told me that there is a
Everything else, Dave, up till now has been verified.
Yeah.
But we caveated this one with, I haven't been able to personally verify this, so we're gonna get off the rails here.
Yeah.
Representative of the Army.
Also, that's a yawn, so
it is. We are on a clock, but you got your glass to finish. I've got my glass to finish.
All right.
Intelligence Service, the Army Intelligence Corps, who wants to talk to me on the record and will attest to the fact that they've known this for 30 years. That I thought was interesting.
Interesting, yes.
Yeah. The other thing this source told me was that there was a recent briefing in England of a group using current Clementine data from the recently completed Pentagon mission to the moon.
Short on time, yes.
Which showed same kind of structures in another place we have found around Kirk.
Another place?
Yes. Now, obviously, there's a lot of work for us to do, both at the level of science, maybe more important, the level of politics and intelligence. But the dam is about to burst. Art, you are witnessing the beginning of the new era because you can't hide the moon.
All right, Richard, hold it right there. Thank you. That's a good place to hold it, as a matter of fact. Well, if this doesn't keep you riveted, check your pulse. You're probably not really here.
So the question, Dave, is do we stop at this commercial break so that if we ever feel like coming back to this, It's a
That's a good
natural spot to break, or are we just plowing through? I don't know. So this guy's been on many times, so we wouldn't
Yeah,
need to jump back to this episode. It would be fascinating to get to callers, but
it's true.
that's an hour of radio time away, which for us is 2 whole streams. So
Yeah, we might have to just skip ahead if we're doing that.
but what do you think, my friend? Should we just keep playing for a bit,
I mean,
or do you want to just tell your joke and wrap it up?
we could do that too. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You're the one yawning.
I am tired. It has been a week and a half for me.
And we've been going for
Well,
3.5 hours. So like this is
probably enough time. Yeah.
we haven't shorted anyone, I don't think, if we were to wrap it up.
Okay. Time for a joke then?
Let's do the joke.
And possibly more Bimon sci-fi con talk.
Okay.
Okay. We need a joke. Hey, Paul.
Yes, Dave.
What's the difference between me and a calendar?
Between you, Dave, co-host
Yeah.
Dave, and a
Yeah.
calendar.
Yes.
I don't know. What's the difference between you and a calendar?
Calendar has lots of dates.
Oh. Oh. That it's my cry for help joke. It's my cry for help joke.
This is where I start crying.
No one get concerned about me. I'm helping.
I can't breathe. Oh.
It's self-deprecating, but not in a fun way.
I'm kind of like Jesus, but not in a sacrilegious way.
Oh, okay, Dave. Yeah, you're not like a calendar that way, I guess.
Woo.
Woo!
Good times.
All right, well, Dave, someone has stepped in. They're gonna save us.
They're gonna
save the
us with
stream from the downer ending. Lunar regolith. Are you gonna read it? You're the joke reader. Here we go.
Lunar regolith, phantasmal terrain, has super chatted and said, "Paul, what's the difference between a fridge and a butthole?"
I don't know, Dave. What's the difference between a fridge?
Fridges don't fart when you pull the meat out. Sodomy.
This one's still better. Makes me still feel better about everyone. All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us tonight. The joke is the end of the show, so
that's it.
Thank you so much. Let us know in the chat and in the comments whether you would like to hear more from Richard. Actually, we will probably hear more from Richard in the future.
Yeah.
Whether we stick to this episode or whether we jump ahead to future things, I guess we will evaluate that on our own. Thank you, Black Box Club, for hanging out with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
From us to you, from our house to your house. Good night, and thanks for watching. Later.
That's the end of our show.
now I wait for the red hearts to come up on the screen so I can end it. Do, 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 do. There you go. It's done.